Howdy, folks, and welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game where... Allie, you're here.
Her one duty, headphone
I
duty.
know. Oh, man. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign, where we've been playing for over 2 years, and I'm Joe Treff, Dungeon Master. Totally thrown off by the one thing that Allie did. Matt's been trying for 2 years to do that.
I got pretty good
results. You got one or two.
Pretty good results.
This is session 73 of our campaign. I'm Joe Treff, the Dungeon Master. Joining me are my friends Matt, Miles, Allie, and Tina, playing a variety of characters. Matt playing like 3 or 4 at a time right at the moment. But a couple of announcements before we get into the game. We have a website, alberonrpg.com. It is a place that has a little bit about the campaign, some of the rules that we go by, and has a whole bunch of details about Alberon, the world, as well as our campaign. We have an Instagram account that is at Alberon RPG. We have a lot of hand-drawn maps, painted miniatures, a ton of really cool art that comes from people in the community, as well as like a variety of other things. It's tough to like see in this format, especially because we're not in person and we don't have the battle cam at the moment, but the Instagram is a great place to go and see that in a little bit more detail and get some of the background as to like what happened or some of the design elements to the maps, the encounters, stuff like that. And then finally, as of tomorrow, the website will update both the story so far section and then the lore section up through the events of tonight, depending on what you guys do. The Dungeoneer's Guide to Dominion, which is the current project on the lore section at alberonrpg.com/lore, is going to be updated through the entirety of the Sunward Coast and the first half, give or take, of the north, which extends through the Frost Line and other interesting places that Shay especially is familiar with. Although you guys have spent a lot of time in the north now, so you have a pretty good handle on it at this point and have actually sheeped it in quite a ways. We also have coming, I think, in early April, a whole bunch of enamel pins coming in finally after like a very, very long, it's been a long project, but we got there. That's going to be super cool. We've had a lot of support from the community and people who watch Adventures in Alberon, and so this is a cool way to kind of get back to the people who have left a footprint on our world. So if you've played in a one-shot like Drew, Olive, or Ariana, anybody who's ever played, Michael, Hisham, you guys are all going to get one of these pins. People who have done some of our art, like Erica Volova, Sophie Bischoff, pins will be going out to you as well. So it's just kind of a cool like little thing to have that is, it's like your Alberon passport. And then finally, for sounds and music and all that kind of good stuff, we use Sirenscape, which is a digital tool set for dungeon masters who want to have a whole variety of sounds to enrich their environments and their games and also their children's birthday parties. Check it out. It is Sirenscape. So, with that, I can bring us right back into our recap. I'm just going to restart our theme for it. I miss the flow that we had with the jungle music, you know?
R.I.P.
I just miss the jungle music.
Yeah, in general. Late at night. Last we played, you found yourselves traveling across a large expanse. 1 second here. Sorry about that. A large expanse of dark cloud as the sky above you darkened with a gathering storm. Just as thunder began to rumble, you managed to make it to the mountain Heinrich had brought to Yorn using the controls in the loom of Yorn, the control center that you had found beneath the massive floating city. There you reunited with Busey, the human hunter that you'd been transported with this mountain from the valley of Ygor below up here to Yorn. He welcomed you in and offered you shelter during the storm that began to cascade down around you. The warm, slightly smoky interior was comparatively comfortable for pretty much everybody but you, Glub. You were feeling parched due to the amphibious nature of your new grung form. To rehydrate, you stepped out into the storm for about 4 hours, just for a quick 4 hours. The rest of you ate, managed to find a little bit of rest in various states, Morwen, you with the poster by the fire. Heinrich, you inquired within your book as to the nature of things that are guarding the Cold Forge, this mystical, abandoned, long-lost dwarven citadel where there is rumored to be a magical forge beneath which perhaps the breaker could be reforged. And you found that while there are forces there that are not aligned against you, there are certainly things there designed to keep anyone out. Suddenly, outside, the storm swelled up and lightning struck Club, the grunterized version of Guntir, as he turned to re-enter the cabin, granting him temporary hit points instead of damage. As this happened, lightning encircled the grung in a crackling ring, and the brand of cord burned bright across Club's back. A door of wrought iron singed the air as it uncurled into existence and opened, and through stepped a barbed devil that hissed its allegiance to a Lady Fierna, and that he would bring you, Guntir, back to the hells from which you had escaped. With strong intervention from Heinrich, you survived, with Heinrich's guiding bolt and crown of stars both landing back-to-back critical hits. Glub.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, Jesus. Glub. Seeing the hellscape of Phlegethos, the fourth layer of the nine hells, and the pit of molten filth jettisoning streaks of fire miles long, in which iron spears, heated white hot, are suspended within the air, screams of the tortured souls within echoing through your ears as you remember being here before. You spent the whole night rocking back and forth, with your mind or minds racing. The rest of you awoke and decided to visit the Tome of Weirton, if only to keep your host Busey safe, Heinrich. You traveled there, avoiding the large evocation runes of fire and ice that Glub almost wandered into, were it not for a timely detect magic from Heinrich. You arrived at this tomb, and in a rare moment of coordination and planning, managed to surround the entrance and time an attack together. The second time, I believe, in this campaign of 2 years. As the skeleton of the ancient cloud giant stepped into view, you coordinated your attack with Akka and Morwen chipping in damage, but Heinrich, again, leading off with a brilliant guiding bolt that ignited the entire skeleton into a blaze of radiant energy that made it easy for Morwen to finish off with an attack from the glowing purple rapier known as Loose, designed for slaying the undead. Akka, Morwen, and Carranza split the chest of gold that was unlocked, largely without issue by Morwen, who sneezed briefly with the dust that dispersed from the opening, before she began to snatch the gold. Heinrich, you found a belt of stone giant strength, well earned after you wrecked both of my monsters last week.
Sorry.
I'm not bitter about it at all, it's fine. Meanwhile, atop this space, Shay, you reunited with Krodok, tired and puzzled and wet from having flown through the night to reach Yorn after you all insisted that he travel there with great urgency to collect the shards of the breaker. He told you that things were dangerous along the west coast, but bade you gather together so he can alert you to what he's found. And that brings us to today. So, just give me 1 second here. Shay, you guys up in this space, the flat sort of expanse around the crumbling elements of marble that have fallen into the Tome of Weirton, exposing the sarcophagus below. You bring Krodok to this sort of opening. Carranza, you guys have a lot of people with you. Carranza, Akka, Morwen, and Heinrich. You are all below in various states of kind of looting this room. And Glub is tucked within a space within the ruins, kind of almost like an item stashed away.
I brought Glub with us, or Guntir, whoever he is.
Fair enough.
Glove compartment.
This slightly trembling grung, as you touch him, you can feel your hands grow a little bit irritated, a little itchy. Were it not for your monk sort of nature, certainly this toxic skin would be painful, but you lead Glub away. You all approach. For those of you below, you can hear the footsteps of Shay more now having to like guide Glub around. You can hear these sort of wet, I would say Glub mostly just kind of stumbling. Krodok gets to the edge of this space and looks at you, Shay. You can see the feathers kind of ruffle on the back of the Aarakocra's face, not super looking forward to going beneath the ground, but takes a deep breath and then just kind of steps off. For the rest of you below in this sort of space of light, it's in the afternoon, about 1:30. Croddock suddenly just the wings down and lands in this space. Little bits of dust and bone shard just kind of scattering across the floor. He draws himself up, right?
Pick Guntir up and kind of hold him up and jump down after.
You can see Carranza immediately wheels around and like points towards this individual. You can see elements of these kind of arcane energy kind of gathering at her fingertip. She grabs the transmuter stone. Who is this guy? Do we know him? Is this like...
This is Croddock.
Okay.
He's one of my order.
He's my ex.
So should I kill him?
No, it's
Okay.
I can't.
You see the hand withdraw.
Right. Both.
Make a deception check, Morwen. Croddock kind of turns and takes this space. He immediately turns and kind of seems to make eye contact with you, Heinrich. And he turns his body to face you. Gets a little bit closer and sort of gestures for everybody to come in. What was your roll?
28.
Okay. You see this for Carranza, who's like kind of a tough woman, like a little bit of a sympathetic look. And she kind of nods, and you imagine she might bring that up later. But just a second here. But Krog gestures for you all to come in. You guys sort of gather in this space, entering in from the elements of darkness that sort of ring this room. You all sort of find your way into this almost large spotlight cast with the daylight coming down through the broken floor. Croddock looks kind of at all of you appreciatively, a little side-eyed at Carranza, but he nods. Hello, friends of Shay. It is good to see all of you, even Guntir in his present state. It is as clear as a cloudless sky that you have much to tell me, but let me tell you 3 things. Heinrich, and he turns to you, Heinrich. I have met with members of Uriel's Watch, 3 of them. They are largely undisciplined and erratic and crude, but each member of your watch seems to be a formidable warrior. I've met only 2, but there are 5 total in Dungannon and the surrounding region. They are working on quelling a cult of some kind that seem to be serving a new and rising entity in the south.
What is that entity?
You can see the head kind of in this very bird-like movement draws up, and the wings behind the Aarakocra bunch just for a second, kind of flapping. We do not know. Whatever it is moves beneath the ground, but their influence and followers seem to wordlessly sweep through the areas it travels, causing issues, killing, burning, otherwise damaging.
I'm noting this down.
Okay. Now just kind of turning to gesture all of you a little bit more, just in general. Elsewhere, and noting to all of you, and you can see his eyes kind of go to Carranza, and you can see for a moment, Shay, Croddock catches your eye, and it's a very familiar, like, can we trust this woman?
I give him kind of a shrug.
Okay. He sort of nods.
So far.
You have no idea. But elsewhere in the kingdom, relating to pursuits that you have all had, a certain piece of star has fallen and been recovered by the Church of 6. It has been taken to the Cathedral of Lights for safekeeping. And then turning a little bit to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do we know where that is?
Yes. Euthilius offered to bring you to the Cathedral of Lights upon first meeting him.
Right.
It is the sort of headquarters of the Church of 6, located in Serental, the kingdom of Serental's capital.
Gotcha. Okay.
As you might have guessed by the name.
Right.
New York, New York. But it's, relatively human-centric, not a place, certainly. I mean, Pendleton is actually at the base of the Valley of Tranquility, and the Valley of Tranquility is the kingdom of Serental kind of like central area where the capital is, the city of Dun, a few other places. But Krodok turns and kind of looks at you, Morwen. In Dungannon, the noble houses have begun to gather their forces around the old city. Piracy has all but ceased. The Navy has fully mustered its might. However, that has increased raids in the Meadowlands. Land attacks on Dark Meadow specifically. I do not know what this means. It is difficult to learn much of what happens within the aristocracy of Dungannon. Morwen, you are from there.
Yes.
Has something like this ever happened? Make a history check. You didn't live there a ton. Often
I
at sea.
honestly,
Would
yeah. I mean, because
Akka-
as long as I've been there, I believe all I've known is that not happening for
Yeah.
my 6
Yeah.
years of.
Would Akka have
Yes.
any ideas of what might happen given his position at Dungannon? Antiquities?
Yeah, you know what? Make a history check. Why not?
Well, so mine was a 10. So
Okay.
you go for it, Akka.
Yeah, Morwen, you don't really
19.
know too much about the aristocracy, and although you don't either, Aga, especially given kind of the way that you grew up in your sort of beginning station in life, especially, the nobility of Dungannon is pretty far removed from the kind of day-to-day sort of commoners. They live in the highest tier of the city that is placed along this cliffside of a seaside cliff set. And then there is this sort of canyon beneath that is a little bit more socioeconomically deprived, is actually probably a pretty good word. And then along the actual ridge of the beautiful sort of cliffs themselves, there's this beautiful castle that used to belong to Elvish nobility. And this is one of the oldest cities on the continent. It predates, the only things that really predate it are the Dwarven Coals. It is one of the very first human settlements that is proudly independent. The nobility is in charge. It is led by this very, very obscure political system that those who are not within it or otherwise very researched on it wouldn't necessarily understand. It is a very odd situation because, in general, as far as anybody can tell, they're fairly benevolent. This is a place where the poorest of people are treated significantly better than you would see in places like the dock support quit. This is a little bit more socialist in nature, but it's a place that is very old and has deep history and rich lore. And so having been there, and especially having the knowledge that you do on the various magical items in the archives of the Dungannon Antiquities Collective, you have read items that are attached to historical tales. Mustering of forces like this, the only time that something like this has ever happened was when the Kingdom of Sarentil in the early 900s of the Third Age attempted a westward expansion through the Gated Marsh. And they were met with kind of like a Cold War situation where there's this long standoff of about 3 years. And then both sides basically just turned around because it was they were in the middle of with the Gated Marsh on one side and Dark Pool on the other. It was like slavers attacking one from behind and monsters from the other. And so it ended up just being a war of attrition that nobody could win. But aside from that, there's never really been, in your knowledge, a large mustering of forces like that.
That is concerning.
Yes.
I proceed to give a history lesson to everyone.
Akka casts exposition and tells you guys all about that.
I haven't seen or heard anything about any of that except for that one time 900 years ago.
Huh. Wonder if it has anything to do with the underground cult kind of thing. Maybe they're all tied somehow.
There are thoughts of this, yes. We are still in the early stages of gathering information. Many members of the Watch have just arrived. So setting up a network, establishing the beginnings of things. This is new to me, but in ways I can see it paralleling elements of the watch. Shay, Crick would approve of the manner in which they deploy. It is quite intelligent for all of their bruteness.
Perhaps something to be learned from them, then.
Indeed. Shay, have you been to Squall's End?
And not since we were there last to investigate the halls.
And end up here. Oddly enough.
For all of you, having known Croddick for a little bit, except for you, Akka, it almost feels like there's more that he wants to say, but he holds back.
Croddick,
But-
it seems like you have more to say. Don't hold back.
Morwen, this is something I think that Shay needs to hear first. And then she may decide what to do with that information.
Oh no, who died?
Many people have died, but
Oh,
this is not regarding death.
okay. Oh, okay. You guys go chat. It's fine.
Very well. And he kind of just takes a couple steps back and looks up and then looks back at you for a second, Shay. And then the large wings expand and 2 gusts is able to propel himself up and just disappears for a brief second. The sunlight, the entire space is cascaded into darkness as the wings take up the space. And then the sunlight streams in again. Shay, do you follow?
Going to give Guntir to Heinrich.
I'm gonna like just you can put him on the ground.
And then, yes, I will follow.
Not
Social
gonna-
distancing.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming he's still doing his weird blank stare, so I'm just gonna be like,
You see, as he's looking like 1,000-yard stare, a little fly just lands on the eye. No blink. Takes off.
I still don't know that he's Guntir, by the way.
Yeah. So,
Or
yeah. So, Shay, you leap, landing softly. You can see Chronic is taking maybe like 5-6 steps away from this entryway. Still taking a couple steps, but like slowing down just enough to get out of earshot from everybody else.
I'll catch up to him.
Okay. He continues to kind of look in the northern direction, in the rough direction to where Squall's End would probably be. Were you by the aperture, you may even be able to see the tops of you may have been able to see the top of Mount Yishi prior to the listeners' attack that kind of sort of split the top of the mountain, causing parts to crumble in. But still, possibly could see the top. Well, it's close. But Croddick looks out in that direction. He's quiet for a couple seconds. Almost like a minute passes. Shay,
Chronic.
gamble means to move our people here. Much has happened in the time that you've been gone. The mystics and the few remaining masters of Key have decided that in order to carry on the tradition, a new listener must be chosen. There was only one real choice. Master Gamble has not enjoyed this transition, but he has accepted it. And he has made some interesting choices.
It is probably for the best, honestly. What?
The wound that the listener left is deep. And Mount Yishi is crumbling. At least the top of it is.
What else has happened?
With so few of the martial, what is it, scout, right? I'm just like blanking now. It's the watch.
Yeah.
No, not the watch.
No,
It's the
Guard.
with so
Scout.
many of the scouts gone. Gamble felt that we needed more to help in this journey. Getting to the Valley of Yagor is easy. We no longer have something like the Iron Hawk. However, I do not know that that would reach Yorn to begin with. You could see, like, there is, like, the his wings do kind of shift a little bit, and he's like, that clearly is a memory that he does not enjoy. But the wings, like, just flutter a little bit behind him. And he says, we will go to the valley, and Gamble means to construct something elaborate to allow those who cannot fly or cannot ascend the giant step to reach this potential new home. There is more, and Gamble would need to explain it to you.
I believe we mean to stop there on our trek north still.
I think that would be best. I think that would be best. There has been interesting happenings. I have not been there much myself, but a member of this Church of the Six did come by about 6 days ago.
Is he still there?
No. He took the tiefling, a tavern owner, somebody who was sick. He was able to show us that something was alive within that place, the Frostmare, with the horse statue.
Yes.
Something bad.
It was there even when we came back the first time, all of us.
This might be, but the more that I think about it, the more I believe this is the right thing to do.
What will you
Do
do?
you mean to come with us?
To Yorn?
You?
We don't have many fighters, Shay.
I'm aware. I will do what I can, but the path that I'm on I must see through.
You can see the Aarakocra eyes. He turns his head, this large kind of Aarakocra eyes, searches yours for a second, and seems to find this kind of acceptance. He nods. At any rate, you should speak to Gamble before making a decision.
Of course.
He looks back towards the hole. How did you all get here before me?
The mage that is down there, she has the ability to teleport.
You can see he seems a little bit surprised. That would be useful.
Yes. Perhaps we can talk her into getting some people here as well, though it will take time and she cannot take everyone at once.
Well, we should bring her to Gamble and see if perhaps something can be worked out. That would accelerate this project significantly, and was not something that we counted on.
Yes, we're hoping to make use of her abilities to get there, so it shouldn't be too much of a stretch to get them introduced.
He nods, again looks back. How long until we can go?
We can go now, I believe, as long as she still maintains the ability.
He nods and kind of looks. Meanwhile, beneath, is there anything that you guys are all doing?
Just kind of taking care
Hunter's
of
just
Glow.
rocking.
Just being like,
Told you not to stay out in the rain for that long.
I think
Got
Akka would
cold.
like lean over to Morwen and be like, "Is that really the Gazette?"
I'm not really sure who he is right now, to be honest.
I'll just turn to both of you guys. It's Guntir.
Well, I know, but he hasn't, like,
Yeah, he's clearly traumatized. He needs a little time.
Wait, is he
He's right there.
Yeah. I
You
know,
look
just
down,
thinking about
the
him.
incredibly short Guntir, now in his growing form, only about 3 feet tall. Easy to overlook when he's kind of crouched down and, being traumatized.
Well, he hasn't spoken all day.
It's the trauma.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Well, what happened between, last night when he was
I
talking?
told you. The demon tried to
Oh, yeah,
get
I
him,
forgot that it's
basically.
real.
Upon uttering the word demon, you can just see all the blue seem to drain from this drum's face.
Well, comfort him.
That-
I'm gonna put on my glove, my one
Yeah.
glove, because I gave someone else the other half. I forget who.
It's
I'm just
Guntir.
gonna
It was
put the one. Was it?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I'm just gonna try to comfort him myself.
I grab her arm.
He's my buddy. Ah!
Make a Constitution saving throw, Morwen.
Yeah, I've got my coat on, don't I?
Yeah, you know what? You almost always canonically have your coat on, so I'll allow
I feel
that.
like the skin that is bare for me is probably just like a hand currently, and
Mm,
right?
Okay.
I don't
And
know.
tail.
Tail.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got a tail sleeve. No, I'm just kidding.
Got a sheath.
Yeah, I've got like a a long sock.
Yeah, okay, let's leave it at the sock
Yep,
realm.
leave it at the sock.
Hey, so, Glub, is there anything that you're doing aside from just kind of rocking back and forth and kind of reliving the trauma quietly in your own mind?
One more when went to grab my hand, I just grab it and I'm like,
You look down at this horrified grung, this large frog-like mouth drawn into an impossibly large frown.
Guys, it's looking at me. What do I do?
Guntir, are you okay? Is there anything that we can do for you right now? Any immediate needs?
Yeah, give him some food.
No response. Okay.
You can see Karan's just kind of looking over. Yeah, no, this isn't really my specialty, so I could disintegrate him, but I don't think that's what you're trying to do.
Nope.
I think I'm gonna take out one of my rations and try to just avoid touching him, but
Okay, so you take a ration and play Operation with Glub. Make a sleight of hand check.
okay.
Food operation.
Yeah, this is epitome of D&D.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Ration.
So you take this ration, you just put it right in the fucking Glub's mouth. Glub, no, because then you get poisoned. Glub, there's a moment where as the frown goes down, the mouth opens ever so slightly, and Morwen, with these dexterous hands of a rogue, you just dart this piece of food into its mouth. You see Glub instinctively draw back, and you hear it actually just stop the airway for a brief second. Natural 20. Roll damage. No, I'm kidding.
thanks.
Oh, see? All right. Yeah. You need more, buddy? Feeling any better after that food? All right. Well, we tried. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I barely know the guy, so
Mm,
you could turn him back into a pig, or like a chicken or something.
I
No,
think,
we'll stick with this for now.
I
I
think
could
this is
probably
one
make
of
him
the-
into a mammoth if you want.
No, I think
No,
this is
no,
one
no,
of those
no.
time is the best option here.
Yeah, I can't cast that. Sorry. But do we have a plan for what we're gonna do from here? You got your belt. That's pretty cool. I got paid, so
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty
we're
pleased with
just
this arrangement.
Ball's end once they're done up there with whatever the conversation is.
All right. Well, enjoy yourself. I think probably I'm gonna stick around here and wait for the Lord Midas to come by. See what they try to dig up.
Hmm.
She just kind of rubs her hands together and looks around this place.
Wait. Have we teleported since today?
You have not teleported today, no.
Okay, so we've got a slot right now.
Assuming that she has it prepared, yes, you do.
Okay. Just wondering. One
But
of us just like, let's go travel.
She's also trying to stay here.
Right.
Yeah. No, I know. I just wanted to know.
Maybe we should.
Let's get out of this hole.
Well, we're out
Yeah,
of the
no,
hole.
all right, I'm cool with that.
I want to get out of the hole.
I think we're out of the hole.
Yeah.
You can see.
I think I'd just float up.
Okay, so all of you kind of climb out. You see Karan's at the bottom, just like, all right. I mean, I can fog.
Look,
Looks
I'll
down.
help
You can see slowly. She molds Earth herself like a set of stairs to go up. It
Oh.
takes her a while. You guys all come out 5 minutes later after like you start hearing this kind of.
Well, how would I have gotten out? I'd probably.
I
have
mean,
gotten-
you're dexterous enough. You can climb. You have a climbing speed.
Okay, climbing speed.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
could have probably carried her out.
You could have, but you
Sorry.
just floated on up.
Yeah.
So you see a somewhat cross Karanza now rise up. The transmuter stone glowing with this inner kind of purple that had changed to the previous time she had used it. She walks over to you guys. Thank you for the help. It's nice that you can fly, and all of you can do your things. And I just teleported you here, which is like a really hard thing to do for free. No big deal.
Talk to them.
Thank you for that. I appreciate the help. It was great.
Yeah.
I feel like
That
I
was
wouldn't
rude, you
have been.
guys.
I feel like I would have been behind her, but honestly, when I said I wanted to get out of the hole, I didn't even say how. I was gonna climb and be like, figure out a way to get us all out of there, but
Mm.
kind of
Well-
fast forwarded through that.
It's pretty easy with the rubble and kind of stuff for most of you.
Mhm.
She, with her dexterity of I think it's 6 or 7, it's a little bit more difficult. 7, yeah. So
Fumbling.
eventually, you all find your way out. Shay, you and Karadek kind of see this group emerge without Karanza, and eventually she joins. You all find yourself out. It's about 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. The sun's beginning to kind of get towards the area where it's going to begin to descend in the sky. It is blue and clear up here, and just wisps of clouds below. Fairly clear day.
And we're all back up together.
Yep.
Karanza, I know we haven't spoken much, but what are your plans from here?
Well, I mean, eventually I was hoping to kind of, get married, settle down. But like short term, I'm looking to like set up here, see what the lore binders are looking into. I've heard of things that can change the city around and anything that can move things on a scale like that. I'm a transmuter. I'm interested in.
I have a request for you, if you're agreeable to it and able. Would you
I
be
mean,
able?
I consider myself both agreeable and able, depending on the situation. But what do you need?
Would you be able to teleport us to Squall's End?
Able? No. What is Squall's End? I mean, I know the other guy said it's something. I just assumed it's like a ship, or I don't know, like a spooky dungeon with you people, whatever.
Is a village not far from here.
Is it a spooky village?
Not intentionally so, though perhaps probably more so now. There have been some events.
When you can't just say like no right off the bat, that's like a troubling sign to me. I'm not the most insightful person, but like, I have some sense of like red flag. So what am I walking into here? And then what is the incentive for me to do so?
It is
Aside from like the kindness in my eye,
it is where what is left of my order lives. They are looking to leave, and I would be willing to compensate you if you would be willing to take us there, and then potentially to help take some of them as well. Back here, in fact.
One of the nicest words in common is compensation. I love it. It's like one of my favorite things. What are we talking here? Like, is there a fee per person? Is this like a flat kind of agreed upon sum? Are we talking cash?
What would be your fee?
Oh, well, I mean, how many people are we talking here? Because I can only really do like 7 a day, something like that. I'd have to really look because I don't remember. But yeah, something like that. 8 creatures I could take.
I'm gonna give Krata kind of a side glance for a minute because Shay doesn't know at the moment who else is still there.
Krodek looks at you. You can tell from the way that he turns his head, he has no idea what you're trying to communicate to him. That's a complex thought.
How many people?
I wouldn't be able to give you a definite number because I haven't been home in quite some time, so I don't know who all remains and who all would need transport, but it could be negotiated.
All right, but like, I'm not gonna show up at this place and then you guys are gonna like. No offense, I know this is maybe like a little bit of a stereotype, but like monks, right? Don't you give up everything and you don't have sex and stuff like that?
Not
So
quite.
I'm just gonna
but,
look at Chronic.
I'm actually going to reach into one of the pouches and pull out just a handful of the platinum and pass it
Okay.
to her.
She just takes it in her hands, almost drops one. Whoop, geez, 7 dexterity. She does drop it. Ding, ding, picks it up off the ground, like tucks it in her pocket. Okay, so
That's
not
mine.
that's oh.
Who-
His voice just
Who's that?
changed. Did he just hit puberty? Is that like a thing that grung do really late in life, or
That sounded like
Say
Guntir.
something again. Say another thing.
is that like a grung alphabet? Floor. What do you want me to say?
Oh no, not you. That one.
Oh.
Someone,
he's not-
give me more food. Give me
He's
more
just kind of
food.
looking. And she reaches under her grab and pulls out a bunch of like dried fruits, like raisins or dates, maybe, and just stuffs
Alright,
them
I'm
in her
gonna
hand.
try to feed him again. It's like hitting him with food. Just say things.
Make a sleight of hand check. This is like one of the fortune teller thing. You put a quarter in and it starts talking, and then a fortune comes out. That's basically what this is.
That's a dirty 20.
It's a little bit.
It's wait, what is it? A sleight of hand?
Yes.
25.
Oh. As you get close, it's almost instinctive. The grung mouth opens, and you can just kind of. You don't even have to touch the face. You just kind of toss it the last couple inches. You are fed one more date. You can see Karanz is now just kind of squinting at this creature. All right. Well, so anyway, sorry about that. Clearly not the kind of monk that you are. Not, whatever it is that you do, great. Yeah. If you got this kind of money, I can definitely help you out.
There is a store of things that are kept at the monastery. I have not seen it in quite some time, but you are welcome to whatever you feel is adequate compensation.
All right. I'll take a look around. I mean, this is pretty. I really do like platinum. It is one of my favorite colors. So, but we'll see what you got when we get there. Are we going now? You guys want to go now? She just paid me a lot, so.
I don't see why not.
Should we say goodbye to Busey? I think we kind of did in the morning, didn't we?
We did. We said bye.
Yeah. We didn't just like leave. Okay.
Do you guys know him from before? Because he just let you in his
No.
house, and you just kind
Wow, it's
of.
totally crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
Nice. Seemed really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. We've
Guess
met
he's
weirder,
guess
to be
he's gonna
honest.
have a little bit more
Oh,
company.
trust me, I know
Yeah,
that.
we-
You can see Karanza makes eye contact with you, Akka, and she is like this kind of like air nod. But you guys all kind of gather around. Karanza says, no, come in. The whole thing. Touch the shoulders, nothing else. Just come on. You see Krodek just nervously get in. So Krodek, Karanza, Akka, Glub, Shay, Morwen, and Heinrich. You guys are pushing the capacity here. You wouldn't be able to bring Busey. You gather in. You can see Karanza's hand hold around the transmuter stone. The other hand kind of held up. These lines of arcane light seem to flow around in between her fingers from the stone, or this crystal that's wrapped in kind of wire. And they seem to connect, and in an instant you all feel this drastic pulling sensation. You guys are going to Squall's End. So actually, interesting point. Before we do that, Shade, you have an item from Squall's End, right? What are you giving her to utilize for this?
Yeah, Shay.
Me.
I can give her the spear, honestly.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay. You feel this pulling sensation, the feeling of your feet almost moving rapidly off the ground so quickly that it feels like they surpass your brain for a second before your whole form catches up. It's this elastic feeling, and as your bodies seem to both turn, bend, and twist in the space and time that you transport, you all appear in Squall's End. And let me... So, looking around, immediately, you can see the once beautiful town now crooked and much emptier than it once was. Very active place. You see people going here and there. The mountain that has been cleaved by the listener's massive sort of blade attack has sagged again. You can see the bridge, this ornate, beautiful wood with a mosaic of glass tiles carefully set into the mortar between the stones, has collapsed into the gorge beneath, separating the monastery from the actual town proper. You can see there's been a series of hastily erected rope bridges that have been put in place. You can see most of the town is itself truly empty, with a few people pulling carts loaded with crates and barrels, various bits of supplies. They seem to be going towards the monastery. Shay, you notice immediately not a single banner that would normally flutter above the monastery expressing the Zinni rites is currently flying. Those have all been taken down, which is something that you've never seen. What would you guys like to do?
I will take my spear back from Carranza, and I'm headed toward the monastery.
Okay, you see Carranza looking around. Oh, no, this is like about what I expected. Less spooky, though, honestly. The rest of you guys following Shay? Okay, follow Shay. Aka?
Yeah.
Okay. Is somebody like pulling Glub along?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be doing that and walking near Morwen just in case like another chance to do something happens.
Give him a treat.
Just punch him in the face. So you begin to travel through this place that for you, Shay, it's jarring because as you walk the streets, your feet find familiar steps and you can see these familiar structures, but you look up and an entire street is like a good 10 feet above where it should be. Whereas before this cluster of buildings kind of rose up gracefully, it is now a marked cliffside. There are areas where entire structures have kind of sagged and collapsed along this newly formed fault through the mountain. But you twist through the structures, through the sort of day market. You pass a structure that last time you were here had this, or I guess the first time that most of you were here, sold this amazing smelling soup. The place run by a dragonborn is now shuttered and closed. You don't see many of these or any of these stores open that were along the Hawker's Row section. And the once very busy kind of tapestry mill sort of section, the place where they made textiles, is now quiet and dark. Shay, as you approach and you guys kind of take these various rope bridges, you get to the point where you come to this gorge that separates the town and the monastery. And as you get to the edge, Shay, without any trouble, you and Croddock are able to walk. But for the rest of you, as you get to the edge and look down, this crack within the mountain drops down and out of sight into darkness. It is steep. You don't see any kind of ending. There is no reflection of water running beneath. It doesn't seem like a naturally forged gorge. But are you all just crossing?
I think I'd float across.
Okay. Aka, as you guys are crossing one by one, steps
Like
to the
over
right
the
of
bridge,
the bridge.
but
Okay.
still over the bridge,
Okay.
secondary support in case.
So you sort of
for
like
some reason
Magneto
stop
cross
flying.
your arms and just float
Yeah.
across. Sure. You should read how that works, Matt. Point in fact. But you all float, walk, or otherwise trudge across this bridge. It's only about 45 feet. It is unnerving, this rope, as it kind of sways in the fierce wind that does howl between this kind of gorge, but you make it across without issue. Shay, immediately, as you get to the area that once held these beautiful, almost cherry blossom-like trees. There are still some kind of here and there, but largely this is a place that seems to be almost losing its vibrancy. The petals no longer the bright pink that they once had. You notice especially off to the northwest, past the now broken and sawn cleanly in half Tower of Ravens, where once the monastery's ravens were housed to bring messages to various places. beyond that, Campbell's workshop, dark. You can see the workshop is something of a shell. A lot of the machinery either packed up or discarded. There are elements that have either been completely broken down or others that have just kind of been completely removed and are no longer present. You can see better beyond it the junkyard that the Iron Hawk was once kind of nestled amongst. Are you going towards the workshop, or are you going towards the monastery proper, or where are you trying to get to?
Seeing that the workshop is dark, probably to the monastery proper.
Okay. You follow Shay as she walks up the steps past these cherry blossom trees that, as you walk in this fairly fierce wind, the leaves are falling away. Which, Shay, for you, not normal. These are pretty much year-round, almost like succulents, though they look like leaves. You get up to the top of the stairs, and as you walk through these two large gates that now again stand open, Shay, you see in the middle of this kind of, it is a kind of entryway that splits off. The Court of Mystics is north, and then off to the west is kind of more of the dormitory-style buildings for the initiates of the order. But you see in the middle of the square Gamble, who is kind of directing people. He still wears his crafter's leathers. You see the monk footwear with the hairy feet kind of sticking out, specially made for him. You can see in his hand, but not lit, and actually looking far cleaner than usual, the long, almost arm length for the halfling, intricate pipe that Gamble almost always has. You see the goggles kind of up on this halfling's white hair that has been slicked back. You see the orange shirt underneath the crafting leathers. He's speaking with somebody, and you can see, though he still has the relaxed sort of demeanor that he normally does, there is both a tiredness about him and this very, maybe not energy, but it's a determination that is a little bit different than what you remember Gamble having. But do you approach him?
I do.
Okay. You see Gamble, as he's talking, just kind of says, well, and then just gather all the crates on the north side. We'll figure out where we go from there. And he turns and he sees you and Krodek and the rest of your group approaching. He turns, and just immediately kind of beelines it to you, this halfling, shorter than most of the people in this space, but still you can see a wide berth being given to him, this different respect that he, and Gamble is never somebody who hasn't been respected within the Zinni. There are those who don't always match with his kind of loose style within the order, but he does not have enemies necessarily. This is a deference to him that is very different. Similar in ways to the way that people treated Era. You can see he comes up to you. He doesn't hug you. This is a more restrained Gamble than you're used to seeing in some ways. But he smiles with his eyes. Shay, all of you, Krodek, it is very good to see you. So much has happened.
I've heard tales, but please do let us know what has happened.
You can see he looks off and towards the direction of his workshop, and even now, you can barely see it over the walls of the monastery proper, but you can just see the top where there used to be a windmill. All the blades of the windmill now gone. Part of the top sawed off from the listener's attack, and you see he almost visibly deflates. He's a halfling, and he's old at that, but he's always held himself as a much younger man might. He seems his whole 156 years now. He looks at you, Shay. I don't know if Krodek has told you this, but we mean to leave Squall's End.
He did mention as much.
This was not an easy decision, and not one that I meant to make. I do wish Aero was here. Or
As do we all.
he looks, and you can see there are people like waiting to talk to Gamble, like 3 or 4 of them that are kind of queuing up at a respectful distance. But he turns, he leans in a little bit, and he says, The mystics and the key users are the only ones that insist on clinging to this tradition, but they have made me listener. It is not a title that I wish, but I understand why it has been given to me. You can see, though he talks to you, his eyes never leave this workshop. You can see his eyes kind of tracing the edges of it, like somebody might trace the edges of like a beautiful car or a work of art.
The path is never easy, listener.
He shakes his head and laughs. Shay, do not call me that, please. Of everybody.
Very well.
And he turns and he looks sadly. Like rings on a tree, I can count my age by the mechanisms and machinations within those walls. Home for me was never where I was born, Shay, nor where I'd been. It has always been here. Or so I thought. He kind of nods for a second. He seems like a little bit lost in this idea and then turns to you.
Roddick says that you mean to make for Yorn.
Yes. I don't know if this is the right decision. As I said, I wish I had more people here to guide me, but I guess if that were the case, I wouldn't need to make a decision in the first place. There was a time where I believed that I was an inventor, and you can see he kind of like tugs at the straps of this leather apron, and then a monk, but now I still don't know, Shay. My life has taught me a great many things, but one of them is that you must always allow yourself to change, and I think the Zinyi need to do so. I think what we do is important, Shay. There are things that can be done in Squall's End that can be done nowhere else in Alberon, but our isolation has had a great cost. Were we more in tune with a larger community, perhaps we would have seen this coming, seen the changes, seen the signs, avoided it, or at least mitigated it. We must be somewhere safe and away from distraction, but so too must we open up to allow others to come to us. The world is changing, Shay, and with it we must shift or be left behind. Just as this mountain falls, others have risen. And you can see, almost in a parallel motion to Krodok looking north, you can see his eyes now cast down into the south, where you know Yorn to fly.
To that
You
end,
kind of-
Uncle, I may have someone who'd be willing to assist in getting some who cannot make the trek on their own easily.
Any kind of assistance would be greatly appreciated, but we do have elements of a plan. We mean to assemble. And you can see, for the first time, he kind of taps like the pipe on the side of his knee, and he goes as if to kind of pack it, but he has no tobacco. You can realize it from like the kind of motion where he goes to pull something and there's nothing there. But he idly just kind of taps it again. He's like going through the motions as he seems to think. And you see the edges of a smile on this tired kind of face. The parts that we've taken from the workshop, we've managed to create something of a lift that I believe we can construct once we reach the Valley of Yagor, to create a platform that can raise and lower safely. This will need to be accomplished at some point to further our goals. We cannot allow us to be as isolated as we have been.
I agree.
There is more. Yorn is the site that Jaruxa departed from. And if he returns, I do fear that that is where he will return to.
It is where he departed. Where he will return, I do not know.
Well, in any eventuality, we need to protect the people here. I've begun to draw friends together to try. We no longer have Crick or many of the Watch, but we do, or I do have friends. Some less savory than others, but my time in the Shadow Scabs has proven fruitful in this endeavor.
Any help at this point, I believe, will be beneficial. And we will do as we can while we're here.
Your friend has returned from Everest, Pericolo.
Oh, is he still here?
He is. He means to help.
Wonderful. I would like to speak with him at some point. The other question I had, Uncle, are the archives still open?
They have been partially packed, but most are available, yes.
We are looking for some information on the location of a place known as the Cold Forge.
Who has a passive perception of 20?
Guntir.
Aka and Shay. You see...
Guntir.
Yeah,
Guntir.
sorry. So I'm going to say, based on your traumatized state, you don't notice this. Shay, you do notice for a second, as you say that, Gamble's eyes, and your familiarity with him too helps, his eyes dart up to you when you say that, and you know that that means something to him. Why are you looking for this place?
The breaker was broken. I mean to repair it.
You can see this look of just grave concern, but he nods a little bit. And even as he does, you see he taps the pipe again. He goes to like pack it and there's nothing there, but he's going through these thinking motions. That might work. An exact location or records of we would not have. That is a place lost for a number of reasons.
We've managed to piece together some information, more looking on information, or if there's anyone left who has been that far north.
I have certainly never been. The only person I can think of would be Mel. He turns and he gestures one of the monks to come over, this younger monk who you've seen around. He's like, was an initiate. You actually notice wearing now rather quickly and kind of not fitting that well, but full monk garb. But he goes over and you see Gamble say, could you please fetch Mel for us? And you see the monk just kind of look and go, do I have to? And he just says, just be nice to her and she will be nice to you. And you see this monk clearly not believe it. You don't need any kind of like passive perception to know this. But he goes off and kind of heads to the deeper into the monastery. Gamble turns to you, Shay. If you would like to see your friend Pericolo, I believe he's in the Court of Mystics at the moment, helping to coordinate the packing in that area.
Yes, that would be a great help, I think.
I will be here for most of the day, unfortunately, but if you need anything, it is quite easy to find me now.
Yes, I will be back, Uncle.
You see his eyes kind of search across everybody. Is Guntir here? I feel he might have. He turns and looks.
Or both.
You can see, and Gamble, incredibly wise individual. This is a guy who has lived a long life. He has been a monk, a master inventor. It takes him a second to connect these dots. He looks at this blue grung, looks up at you, Heinrich, looks at you, Morwen, kind of looks back down. You see the dots slowly aligning. Suddenly they click into place. Oh dear.
Yep.
Well, he will not have any tobacco, so that is not...
Gamble.
Oh.
I lost it all.
You can see he draws back a little bit at that.
He spoke.
Quick, get the food.
Get the food. Somebody give me food.
You can see Gamble doesn't have any food on.
Number of changes, Uncle.
So I see. Is this some kind of arcane work or something that's happened? Is this a curse? I cannot quite tell.
Guntir was slain and has been reincarnated.
He turns and looks at you, Guntir. He kind of steps over this halfling. He stays, and worth noting, he stays like a good 5 feet back but he still kneels down a little bit to get closer to you. You see this old halfling kind of look at you, old eyes above this kind of mustache and the kind of pointed, not quite a goatee, but getting there. He squints at you. Guntir, are you there? He looks at you, Shay, and then kind of turns back and stands up.
Has suffered greatly. I do not believe this.
Aira would be helpful in this situation. This is not something that I am equipped with. Although...
might one of the mystics be available?
Might one of which?
The mystics.
I was just thinking on who might be able to modify elements of your friend's recollections. But I do not believe we have that capability presently, unfortunately. He turns and kind of... his eyes are like he's very concerned about this Guntir situation.
Yeah, you and us both. Us all. Same.
Same, bro.
At about this point, you can see people kind of dispersing along as this monk kind of heads back. His head's held down. You see following behind him this older woman. It's kind of actually hard to discern her age because the skin itself, the bits that you can see, very smooth. She wears this red leather mask that covers her nose and her mouth. There's a strap that goes across it and kind of holds it onto her head. But the skin that you can see, though very smooth, around her eyes, you can see, and their eyes also pull you in because they glow from within with a pure pupilless white that sheds a faint light onto the red leather mask beneath. The left arm is entirely mechanical. You see iron and silver clockwork bits and gears that tick and spin as she walks. And the locomotion, you actually see complex series of pulleys, almost impossibly complex. You can see, actually, Shay, I would say with your passive perception, you can see a few little bits here and there that Gamble has clearly worked on, but definitely not his design. But she approaches along with this monk who stops about 15 feet back, and she continues. She levels these pupilless white eyes at Gamble and then kind of shifts them across all of you. Gamble turns to all of you. This is one of my friends from back in the Shadowscav days. She helped us out a number of times, and in return, I believe I've helped you. And you can see this, some of you might recognize as an Eladrin. This sort of mystical fey creature. Turn and just kind of nod. You can see the hand, the fingers each move, and with each one you hear the whir of gears as they operate. But she casts her eyes back and then turns to Gamble. So what is it that you want? Gamble turns and looks. This is the Finger Gang. They are a group of adventurers who are, or have often assisted us in the way that you are assisting us now. Finger Gang. Wizard. And he kind of nods to Kranza. Kranza just goes, hey, this is Mel, a friend of mine.
Hi, Mel.
I'll just nod.
I'm Morwen. Nice to meet you.
Mel just kind of, her eyes squint at you. She crosses her arms. You hear the nails of her real hand tapping against the metal of the fake arm. But as she stands there, Gamble says, Mel has been the furthest north of anyone that I know. She has crossed the glacial sea into what remains of the old and has returned. If you have questions about places north, this is who you could ask.
Mel, well met.
I got nothing. Oh, okay, go
We
ahead.
are planning a trip further north to a particular mountain. Heinrich, do you have your map?
Yeah, and the book to sort of corroborate and I'll point them out to you.
She kind of leans forward and looks.
And explain the whole cleft in the mountain and all that stuff. Too.
As you hold the book out, she squints for literally like half a second. You see the brilliant, glowing white eyes narrow. This is the Cold Forge.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know it. You've been there?
I have been, yes.
To or by it?
I have been within.
That is excellent. Could you direct us? Could you possibly take us?
I do not wish to return there. That is a place that is...
Only gone out of need. A dire need, at most. Right?
She turns and looks at Gamble, and Gamble sighs and just says, in our time with the Shadow Scabs, you should understand, within our business of moving items to and from the people in Kol Taram who could not obtain them, the non-dwarven class of citizen, there is much interest in acquiring items within the Cold Forge, this legendary place. We have tried unsuccessfully, as far as I knew. You can see Mel, no expression on her face, and you can't see the mouth or nose, so hard to read anyways. But if you have been there, Mel, congratulations. And Mel just kind of shrugs. It is not all that it is cracked up to be. It is a dangerous place. I have merely been within the Hall of Heroes, and that alone. Why do you wish to go to this place?
We are looking for the forge to repair an item.
And not just any item. Before you suggest any old forge, this is something important and very powerful.
The Cold Forge is rumored to have a magical place. This place is supposedly able to fix items of magical make that have been broken through one means or another. I went there seeking repairs for, and you can see she kind of like rolls the mechanical shoulder. You hear it like just tick, 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 and just kind of click into place to repair things that had been broken. Although I did not get quite so far.
What stopped you?
The gate is no problem. It contains a simple puzzle that all of you will be able to figure out. I will not insult your intelligence, unless you wish me to. But beyond that is the Hallway of Heroes, this antechamber, perhaps, when it was a functional Kol. Statues of great dwarven heroes long past. But beware, those statues can summon spirits of their ancestral guardians that will attack you, or anything that means harm to that place. If you can make it through there, and I doubt, and she looks at you, Morwen, and kind of considers for a second, I doubt most of you could. There is a hallway that begins a maze of intricacy that I cannot begin to explain to you. And within that maze, there is something that screams. So I could tell you how to get there, but I will not be traveling with you. Respectfully, she says, looking at Gamble and not you.
Any assistance would be welcome.
Well, and she kind of takes your map, Heinrich. She plots for you a course that would take you from the west side of Mount Yishi up. It's like so you'd be starting on the edge of the Bone Meadow and traveling away from it and going into what she writes onto the map as the Forest of Song. Through the Forest of Song, you can see this mountain, which she actually draws a line through the middle of, and you can see now, she says, this is the Cleft Mountain, the one that you have spoken about. Go to the north face of it, and at the part that will align with the shift of color along the ice when the sun sets, you will be able to find a brick gate, although the gate itself not hard to find. It is called Freedom's Embrace, and it is the entrance to Kol Arista.
Okay. Is there a lock? You said just a simple puzzle lock on the door.
She smiles, and you can see mischievous in the corner of her eyes. Her eye, you can't, she has no pupils, so it's kind of hard to see, but you get from the motion of this glow that she kind of looks up, recalling no chains, no masters. Enter freely and leave the same. And she turns her head to look at you, Heinrich. Simple, really.
I'm writing that down. Hold on.
So is that it, or do you need anything else? And you can see Gamble kind of sharply look at this Eladrin. Meliora, these are our guests, please. And Mel turns to all of you. Sighs, you see her boredom and her exasperation in this kind of exhalation.
That will be all, I believe. Thank you.
And she turns and just kind of heads off. So what would you all wish to do? You now stand in the entryway to the monastery. You know where Pericolo is. You have a rough idea as to what exists within the monastery. You did grow up there.
I'm gonna throw Gamble pinch of my pipe leaf.
Okay.
Here you go, sir. Looks like you're out.
Gamble, oh, thank you, Morwen.
You're welcome.
Takes the pipe, he taps it out despite the fact that clearly there's nothing in it. He, you can see, almost greedily sprinkles this in. You can see he produces this flint and steel, sparks it, and draws in deep, and you can smell the kind of piney, pungent pipe leaf aroma as it wafts into the air. You see as he pulls in the little bit of green kind of burn on the wizard's head. And then as he pulls the smoke in, he turns and very mindfully and willfully exhales it at you, Guntir. The smoke just kind of going into your face, into your nose and mouth.
Unblinking eyes.
Yeah, your eyes turn
They
red.
water, but they don't shut.
What do you guys want to do?
This is your chance to go shopping, Morwen.
I mean, I want to go see Perry. But
And Guntir,
Isn't there,
shopping.
not a
You
lot of
always like to go shopping.
right.
too.
Regrettably,
Not a lot of
Hawker's Row has shut. We've packed most of the inventory there, but if there is supplies that you need, we will of course assist you.
I don't know if there is any supplies we really need.
Things
for
to
maybe just
survive
more
the trek,
provisions.
basically.
And it
Hey.
gets really cold, right?
Yeah,
No, well,
some
we have winter
shelter of some kind to bring along with us, and because we
I
can't make ice.
gave you a shelter.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's on his old body.
the GAM
Left it on his old body.
cube. We
You see, he pulls in another long pull of the pipe leaf and then blows it into Gunter's face.
yeah.
actually,
I think
it was stolen by.
I think it rests somewhere
its
on
members.
the ground of Calypso's right
Yeah.
now.
And Calypso's, you said.
Yeah. Well,
That is where
In-
Jaruxa has gone.
In Zinni to Gamble. I will tell you that story later, Uncle.
You can see he nods, acknowledging that, not verbally, but just kind of physically. Well, if you do think of things, we will gather some basic supplies to make sure that you can travel safely. Although, Shay, you had mentioned somebody who can travel great distances quickly.
Yes, let me introduce you to Carranza.
Hey, what's going on? And you can see Carranza, who's been just kind of trying to get her hair to behave because it's just been through all of this being up in Yorn. She has this really curly hair. It's just knotted and tangled. So she's been trying to get it out. You can see the fur in her collar that is coming out of this really stiff high collar. There's hair tangled into it, and she's really trying to get it out. But she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He nods and says, "It is nice to meet you." She says, "Yeah, likewise. Yeah, is there any gold or anything like that? Are you just giving that away?" And you can see he looks just very quizzically at this woman. And Inzini to you, without breaking eye contact with her, and this just very polite smile, says, "You've chosen many interesting friends, Shay."
Responding in Zinni, I'm not so much sure that I chose them as I was chosen for them.
You can see Karanza just look back and forth, and she says, "Yeah, I don't speak Elvish, Dwarvish, whatever that was. So, la-di-da, good to see you. I accept gold and platinum." Gamble just kind of nods, turns to all of you. "Well, I have some business to attend to, so if you do need anything, please, Shay, seek me out. And before you leave, please, I would like to hear that story."
Of course, Uncle.
And he turns, and as soon as he takes a step away, like the people are just all over him, asking him questions. There are like these things being pushed in front of him. And you can see in all of this, whereas before he seemed kind of harried, there's this very relaxed look on his face now. You can see the eyes like about 3/4 of the way shut. Probably a little stoned, but seems to be enjoying himself a little bit more.
Good for him.
Finger
Glad I
Gang
could
is
help get
about 4 p.m. You're within Squall's End. What would you like to do?
I kind of forget what's here. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of shopping, right? Because they're packing up, and
The inn. I want to make sure the inn is purged.
Okay, so you can head off in that direction. It's only about 10 minutes to the southwest. You have to go down the stairs across the bridge, but it is kind of right there, so you can go. No problem. Is everybody going to the Frostmare?
Don't
Sure.
forget about Pericolo
Okay.
too. I mean, I'm just kind of like, after this exchange is over, I'm just turning and walking, not really saying anything.
Okay. So Heinrich turns and walks. You can
I have
see the
gnawed
feet
out.
first. Okay.
I have not out, just sort of like enjoying the heights.
Yeah. You all follow Heinrich. You cross the bridge yet again, this rope bridge, and find yourselves easily enough to the Frostmare. Share with you there, no problem. Before you get there, even like about 100 feet off, as you round elements of this 2-story residential structure. Let me just pull it up here. The elements that you had seen on the inside, you remember this beautiful mosaic of mirror and glass and little tiles that formed a sort of panorama of Squall's End within. They still shine and glint. But you see the Frostmare is a smoldering ruin. The 4-story structure now burned down to the 1st story. You can see blackened timbers poking out of just faint bits of snow that have fallen and settled over the night. Frost, really more. Bits have melted over the course of the day, and you can see refrozen as like a black ice along the ground. Small pieces of the glass and clay and other shiny bits that once formed that mosaic dot within the ashes, reflecting elements of light. You can see that proud marble statue of a horse that once stood out front. Each strand of hair once this carefully inscribed tale of the Frostmare, this horse that would bear no rider but the truest heroes from this northern region, is now just burnt and charred, chipped and broken. But the Frostmare largely no more.
I feel a lot better about that, but I'm just gonna kind of go and pick through the rubble just to see.
Make an investigation check.
It's just kind of.
oh, come on, man! Haven't you ruined this place enough?
I think Akka would just absent-mindedly kick at the rubble, just like.
Okay.
So this is
21.
This is a nice place to
Squall's
stay.
End, huh?
As you guys are talking, Heinrich begins to pick his way through this rubble, kind of shifting first with his foot and then with his hands pulling little elements of this mosaic away. Here, like a vibrantly lime green tile that at one point had formed an element of a banner that hung above a shop in this mosaic kind of panorama. Heinrich with a 21. You pull out all manner of like colorful little bits of stone, glass, and mirror, which you are welcome to keep. There is nothing valuable necessarily within this place. You find a couple of like candlesticks, some glasses. You find a pewter mug. You move back further. You go beyond where you remember the counter being. You can see still smoldering the elements of like a door. There's no door left, but you walk through and you see this burnt bookshelf. Many of the books like pretty badly singed, although a few still untouched. You can see the fireplace on the left side of this room, and then beyond the bookcase, a bed where you once had actually seen Xanifer fever-ridden from the mysterious illness that he contracted.
Yeah. no sign of anything left, though, right? Bad.
You do not find any kind of spores. You don't find any kind of even charred fungal remains. And I would say, Heinrich, with your kind of background and the spells that you use, the fire that has kind of burned this place, when you move elements of like the charred bits away, there isn't direct like burning. This is like radiant fire.
Right. It's like my
for
sacred
what it's
flame
worth.
cantrip.
Yeah, but it's as if, and looking at it with a 21, I'll say, you notice like the whole top is gone and it's burnt down. And as you get to the base is untouched. And you kind of look around at the ground. You begin to move bits of the snow. You guys can now see Heinrich, like he comes out of the other side of the building and is now like shuffling snow out. There are parts of the ground that seem to be much cleaner, it's almost as if a storm of that same kind of fire, this sort of divine fire, has rained down on this space.
Well,
but no sign of Azra's infection here.
I'm satisfied. And I just sort of walk back up to the group and say, hey, so, who was that Pericolo guy? I think he was here last time, right?
Yes, he's an old friend of mine. He recently went to Everest and is now back. He probably has some information that would be helpful to us.
Okay. We should go seek him out before we gather our things and head towards the Cold Forge.
You all about face and head back north, going over the rope bridge once again.
Hey, I didn't ask anyone to come with me.
Up the stairs and past the now falling cherry blossoms, the sun setting a little bit behind you, and so shadows being cast onto the steps as you climb. You get to the top, you enter again. You don't see, you see Gamble kind of off in a corner now, managing what looks like the staging of something into like carts. You pass him to the north and head into the Court of Mystics, or the area that the Mystics used to kind of occupy. It's very quiet. As you pass through the arches, no banners fluttering that you're used to. The sounds of the crowd kind of die behind you, and as you step in, there's a lot of wind. You just hear wind, you see a few birds flying overhead in the darkening sky. And up on the second tier, with this three-tiered sort of, it almost serves as the central structure and the dormitory for most of the Mystics. You see Pericolo, and you can see on his shoulder one of the legs like sliding down a little bit and has to constantly readjust to get back up. Many of the once vibrant blue songbird feathers now kind of graying, and it's like a fat little like angry bird kind of bird that is Doppio, this once a northern songbird, now a creature, just an elderly songbird. The Pericolos turns and kind of looks down at all of you. He steps off the second tier, and you see this wind whip up, and he seems to just float down to the ground. You can see the dust just dispersing around him as he alights, and then steps towards you guys. But because it is 10 o'clock, this is where we're going to take our break. So it is 10 o'clock. We have a countdown because Tina's real fancy and has done a lot of work for us. So in the break, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see a countdown. When that hits 0, we'll see you then. Bye. Howdy, folks, and welcome back to Adventures at Alberon. This is our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons games, where there are certainly no puns, but a lot of fun. We are going to just jump right back into our game when we left off prior to the break. Your group was approached by Perry Colo, the Air Genasi, who, Shay, you have some history with, you guys going far back to your first trials. Perry Colo was an observer accompanying the group along to the supposed meditative springs that exist within the frost line. And you can see the fat songbird on his shoulder, Doppio, one eye heavily cataract, the other peering at you quizzically. But Perry Colo just kind of nods to all of you. Shay, it is good to see you.
It is good to see you as well. How was your journey?
Everest is ever an interesting place, save for these days in Dominion. But it was an interesting trip, and a productive one. How have you all been?
There have been many things that have happened since we last met.
Such as?
Well, Druxa's gone. Most of the mountain elves have died. Guntir is now a grung.
You can see there's like genuine like sadness, and then the grung part, and he just kind of turns his head up at this. How do you mean a grung?
I'm gonna like
Point over.
step aside and motion to this blue.
You can see this Genasi bends down on one knee, the cloak behind him billowing in this exaggerated, very theatrical kind of wind. And as it settles, he looks at you, Guntir, these eyes kind of narrowing. Are you in there?
I'm gonna take out a piece of platinum, just seeing as how that was the last thing that did it, and just
Okay.
kind of like drop it in front of me and like look at him.
I'm gonna pick it up.
All right, I'll pick it back up.
I
You-
pick it
Didn't
up.
get a response. I thought it was gonna be
Morwen
immediate.
picked it up. So
No,
interestingly,
absolutely not.
well, so interestingly, as you dropped it, you saw immediately Glub's eyes turn to it, and you watch Glub's eyes track it back as Morwen picks it up. It does get his attention.
No, give it back. Give it back.
You dropped it.
Give it back. Thank you.
You can see Karanza just, oh my god. And then you,
I know, right? I'll look at Morwen.
I know, right?
guys, we're like
Dropping booty.
we're in a monastery with like a bunch of monks. I feel like we should be a bit more respectful, you
I
know.
know.
What? Yeah, quiet, right.
Anyways, and you can see Pericolo kind of just nods very politely to Karanza. Things are very interesting. I traveled to Everest to visit Westlisle Taish. Do you know of this place?
I do not.
It is the fabled resting place of the Western Wind. I went to invoke the right of air and sought counsel as to what to do now that the listener is gone.
And
Do you know of this wind, Shay?
I've heard of it, but perhaps not as much as I should.
He turns, and you could see the hand moves, and in an instant, the air immediately in front of you, Shay, almost playfully, you feel it move your hair, and then along your shoulder, your Zinni garb kind of flutters. The wind is strangely warm, and he says, "The western wind is the joyful gust in springtime that flutters a kite, and just as quickly turns to a fierce storm, tearing the strings. She was as mirthful as a child might be, and I have no doubt she could have torn my face from my body if she willed it. She is powerful. She reminded me of the listener, the little that I met him. But She told me, we of the elements sleep and walk as we always have. We rage along distant shores and rumble across deep chasms. We burn in the astral sea and course and surge through alien oceans. This is a problem for Aurelian's children, although... And she froze the waters in front of me, the pond into a sculpture of ice. Fiercely beautiful was this woman, a frosty veil across her face, obscuring the eyes above an otherwise elegant feature. I believe this to be Azra, the goddess of rot. The western wind told me the crone of decay would be dangerous alone, but she is aligning her forces slowly and carefully. She showed me 2 other figures. The first was a sneering mountain elf form, Jeruxa, clearly. The second, a figure of sorts, human, but with a horrible mouth, spewing tentacles like a squid's. These are the allies that I believe she seeks to gather here.
Terrifying. Druxa, I know where he is, but the other...
On my way back from Everest, I have less rapid means of travel. When he looks at Karanza, you can see the eyes kind of looking at the crystal. Than some, but I am able to move quite quickly. I did manage to pass Dungannon on my way through. More happenstance than anything, but there is a darkness that moves beneath the ground there. This final figure, I believe to be tied to that in some way.
Seems likely. Akrotic brought such news as well.
Then 2 such confirmations would mean this information is more than likely true.
Indeed. And disturbing.
Yes.
What will you do now?
I have decided that I will help. Your people and me have always gotten along well, and though I do not stay long anywhere for an extended period, this is a place that does need help, and Yorn is a place of wind.
It is a beautiful place. You will enjoy it.
Doppio falls on the ground, hits the thing, you hear the slap, and it gets up. You see, just almost like nonchalantly, Pericolo picks him up and just squats him back on. You see the bird, the feathers all ruffled. He has to like wedge it back up. Nod?
I feel like Nod is
Nod
sitting there.
Yeah, Nod's a celestial owl. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't... Will is linked to you and as a familiar. Sure.
I know, I just like the concept of like Nod sitting here watching that happen as oh my god. Doppio is sitting up here. It's like yin and yang kind of thing.
You watch the large owl's eyes as this bird, the eyes just follow.
Yeah.
The head turns, and then turns even more, and then he just straightens up and just kind of blinks once. It's all the reaction that you get. But certainly, Doppio now disheveled on Pericolo's hair. Pericolo absentmindedly kind of like smoothing the feathers down. This happens, like, you can tell this happens regularly. This is almost like a ritual. But he nods. I will help the Zinni and Gamble especially. You've all done me many great kindnesses over the years, and that is my plan, at least for now.
He will
What about
appreciate
you?
it. We travel north to the Cold Forge for the time being, and from there, I suppose we'll see.
Sounds like Dungannon. After
Probably.
seems
I've
like
only
a lot
been
of.
asking for a few weeks now.
Well, yeah. Now we have more than good enough reason. We've already
Be
had good
cautious
reason.
if you are traveling to this place. The dead do not rest easy these days.
Wait, which place?
Dungannon.
Right.
Any place, really.
True. There
So
was an
it was-
undead giant on Yorn. Be careful, by the way. When you
You
head
could
back
see
up there.
his head just kind of turns. An undead giant.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
Well, yeah. Dead again, but Yeah,
Well done.
careful with lots of things up there. Also, there's a dude living on a mountain that
Real nice guy.
Yeah.
Name's Busey.
the mountain was brought up when, I don't know if you were around when that happened, but part of the city raised back up.
I'm aware of Yorn and its nature. I did not know
Right.
that there was an element lifted back up.
Yeah, it happened. But
crazy.
there was this guy
A couple
who lives
elements,
in a
as I recall.
Yeah, true. So basically, Busey is there. He's a very nice
Busey.
guy.
Okay.
Makes good stew.
Makes good. Well, yeah, more or less. Just don't be alarmed and
Okay, Stu.
attack him thinking he might be a defender, guardian of the place. He's just a hapless hunter that got pulled up into the sky.
He sounds like an ally.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You're gonna say an
He's at least
asshole.
the foremost watch that exists up there that you could probably call upon. As he is a hunter, he probably takes good stock of the goings on around him.
Then we will do so. Thank you for this advice. You head north to this cold forge. I know bits of it and elements of rumors. It is linked to the elemental planes, and so there is a sensation I feel when passing over top.
Ooh,
I would be very careful.
can I pick your brain about this book and its accuracy?
You're already asking questions.
Yeah, just a quick, is this something to go by, or is this a little embellished? Do you know much about? You seem to be.
He
attuned
holds
to
his
that
hand
kind
out
of
for the
stuff.
book. Takes it. Which book is this?
This is the Elemental Deluge.
Okay, he opens it up, and immediately he smiles a little bit. He flips the pages back to the front, looking for like a date or like a publisher or something. Kind of closes it. Where did you find this?
One of the Niners that we found left
The
over.
Niners.
Sorry, Ninth Path that we
Ah,
found.
Critical
That got
turns,
clubbed.
kind of
That
like
got clubbed.
started.
There was one remnant member at least up on Yorn when we returned this last time, and he
That is
for some
something
reason
that
had
we
it.
should be very mindful of.
Yeah,
That
So
is
yeah,
all
undead.
true.
Fat hunter ally, maybe more Ninth Path.
Fat.
Maybe more. I don't know. There might be more enemies, traps for sure.
What makes you say he's fat?
Isn't he rotund? Didn't you describe him as like?
He's got like a
larger guy?
little bit of a gut, but he's not.
I don't
like,
know.
he's
I
not
was saying it
fat.
carelessly in character.
Sure.
So-
Undead.
Now,
Fat.
Fat guy, but he's really
And-
nice and he's really actually an awesome person. So like, I don't know why I started there. I feel bad now. Shit.
we're often hasty with our words, but
I'm just excited to get going, honestly.
excellent. The knowledge within that book is mostly true. There are more
Good.
places than that, scattered across Alberon, not just Dominion, but
Yeah, makes sense.
the ones listed there, Dinmin's Drain, that is a real place.
We were almost there.
I would not envy that.
Yeah, no. Nope.
That is a dark place. You see him shudder a little bit, and you gather the plane of elemental water, probably not a great place for a creature of air.
Uh-huh.
But if you do go to this cold forge, Kol Arista, I've heard it called, there are legends of the giants once casting out a creature too horrible for them in the Halls of Ire. This creature punished by the dwarves when it arrived. The story, if you believe such things, is that it was cursed to consume 10 of its kind before it would be freed from the maze that it wanders. The Everlasting One, it is known as. But again, perhaps only story.
It's 2 accounts. 2 accounts makes a pattern. That's kind of spooky. All right. What are its kind?
Frost giants.
Ah, I see. Cool. We haven't seen one of those yet, have we? Other than the
feel like
ones
we
that
have.
were frozen. in
Not
Yorn.
Frost giants,
living.
as far as I know, exist one place in Alberon still. The Halls of Ire.
Okay.
Fair.
This is located in the eye of the squall.
Oy, oy.
Heinrich, when I first met you, I took you for an educated fellow. I'm surprised you don't know of this history.
Well, I may have had I rolled for it.
Make a history check if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, I feel like it's a fair assumption if I know it, you're like, hey, you're familiar with it.
This is something. I mean, this is stuff that happened in the first age. So this is like real old history that is not necessarily widely available.
And it's also stuff that if a historian would know, they probably are immortal. Or
It's
something.
not right. It's not factual. It's like, this is the kind of stuff that gets passed down and
Sure.
slowly takes kind of other forms.
We got an 11 on that.
An 11. I'll just close this book. Yeah, you've never heard of it, but Pericolo kind of nods and says, "The Halls of Ire were once placed there from the elemental plane of ice by a powerful entity, slowly meant to drive the frost giants mad, making them angry, making them cruel. That is the
Yeah.
only place they still exist, and they draw great power from those walls."
And this is something similar that exists within Col Arista, or the Cold Forge, or the creature that's in there is from
The creature that is rumored, or it is a legend, really. But it is known as an endless one, a cannibalistic frost giant. And once it consumes 10 of its compatriots, it will be set free. But it is a wild tale.
Sure. I mean, yeah, sounds it. I couldn't make that stuff up myself.
There is more danger within this place. It is linked to the elemental planes of fire and ice at its base. There will be creatures that wander those halls, that have spilled forth from this wound. Be very careful down there.
I mean, we intend to. Whether or not that's going to happen, I mean, we'll find out. So, look, do we plan to head out tomorrow? Should we find a place that we can crash tonight? I don't want to leave during night.
I mean, I also can't, and Kronza pipes up from like the back part of this little group. I can't really do like rapid transit right just this minute. If you need some help,
Right.
but with that description, I can probably get you there if you want tomorrow.
Oh.
To the Cold Forge?
You seem to have a
rough
pretty
area.
good description. I mean, you know what? With just the name, I mean, theoretically we could get there, but like, not real likely. With the description, with what's the name, Mel?
And the
With
map.
Yeah.
Mel's help, perhaps. Maybe Mel has something from there, and you could, use that, and you could definitely get there.
Getting
But,
close to cut some travel and danger off, that's for sure.
Yeah, a couple days.
Yep, that's a good idea. I
I
wouldn't
did not
mind being
consider this.
deposited at the doorstep. Obviously, you don't have to come on in. I would hope that you would
does that
entertain
sound?
the idea. I don't know. Oh, I was
Oh.
tapping my pencil.
Oh wow, that was definitely.
Pensively. It's like right, I don't know, I guess the trajectory of the sound is right next to the mic.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
if she wants
I
to join, but I don't know. I mean, I know how you work. I can tell how you operate.
Well, to be honest, like a legendary lost city of the dwarves who, often hoard magical items and things of great power. I would, take a look.
Yeah. And then look over to Shay and then come back here and help and look back over to her.
Oh no, I'm not promising that I'm going to help, but I'll come and I'll look at this place. I'll bring you there, and then maybe I'll come back. I mean, this lady just gave me how much platinum did you actually give her? Shay?
Like 5.
5.
That's like a ton, isn't it?
It's 50 gold.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll help a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, no, I'll get a couple people there, no problem. You know, I can take a couple trips. What's 3 days between friends, and you know, what's 7 days between business partners, right? Right.
Sure,
So-
there you go.
How you feeling with that, Akka?
I mean,
Just kidding.
my
I
rate
don't
is
ask.
much worse.
But you get to go into the Cold Forge and use it and take cool things to your organization.
You get to risk
And
your life for
possibly
free.
die. It's like,
Hey,
yeah,
but
you
it's
have
also
to work
fate of the
minimum
world
wage,
stuff.
but
Fate of
you
the
can
world
take
and all that.
one free meal a week.
You just got paid like
Has
what?
to be small, though.
800 gold
Yeah.
out of a random.
Only off the
chest.
appetizers menu.
I don't even know if we've provided food for you yet, really.
Yeah, I
A
bought
couple
some food.
times.
Like we're talking.
You
we're
guys
nego-
teased him with a really nice meal.
I know.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're just like we're negotiating.
Yeah, but that place is a tease in general. That's just too much money
with
to
like
spend on
this
food.
woman with all of this gold. I'm actually feeding Guntir by hand, and Akka's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's a confusing dynamic, to be sure. And you can see Doppio looks pretty perturbed by it, but aside from that, relatively unfazed. What are you guys doing? It's starting to get a little bit darker. You can see the sun starting to drift a little bit further
go,
into the horizon.
My thoughts are rest here for the night.
Let's go get some
Poof,
food
poof,
and some
poof on
beer
over. Sure.
and sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, rest here, poof over to Cold Forge, or at least close there by tomorrow. And then Carranza, you can come back and help out while we do our job in there.
Yeah, why not?
Sound good to everyone? Kind of like look around.
So, you know, I appreciate the money, but like, she like looks around. I don't really see any like bustling like inns or taverns or, you know, is there a hotel?
If my house still stands, we can squeeze in there. It won't be comfortable, but it's somewhere to stay.
I
Yeah.
don't take up much room.
Maybe check with Gamble too. He might have somewhere. Where do you stay, Pericolo?
Virgo smiles. I never seem to find any trouble. There are many people I know here.
Well, let's get asking, I guess.
Yeah, let's go get to know some people too. Excuse me, can I stay in your house? Excuse me, can I stay in your house?
It's not like you guys haven't done that, so you know. Okay,
Likely
so
also there's plenty of empty ones too, so take your pick.
where are you guys going? Yeah, there are a lot of buildings that you can see, you know, very much empty.
Let's just post up in a big empty.
I'd
I'm
rather ask.
sure you want to check your house, right?
I mean, there's not much there, but
I'm indifferent.
I'm gonna ask Gamble
Okay,
if he's around.
You travel backwards a couple. It's like, you know, 2 blocks within this large kind of monastery structure, and you cross through the stairs and the threshold that create the joining section onto the entrance. You see Gamble still off in the western end of this entrance, and you head over there. There's a number of people kind of surrounding him. Gamble still has the pipe. You see the pipe is again empty, and Gamble turns over to look at you. His eyes like squinting a little bit. You see, at first you're like maybe the sun's in his eyes, but you can see it setting over his shoulder. So just kind of stoned. But he looks at you. Heinrich, is there something that I can do for you?
Yeah, is there anywhere that we could sort of stay for the night before we leave in the morning?
Oh, right, because of the Frostmare.
Right.
Well, I'm sure Shay would be happy to put you up, but I could, we could light the forge within the workshop, and you could stay there. It is large, and
That sounds excellent.
yes, of course. And turns and kind of nods, and you can see the same guy who like had to go fetch Mel. Yeah, Meliora kind of just and just kind of goes off and gets to lighting that. He turns and says, "Yes, that should be ready fairly soon.
Awesome.
We'll have bedrolls and things of that nature brought over if you do not have any already. Would you require food?"
I was gonna say
Yes,
that's the follow-up.
please.
Yeah, definitely
course.
hungry after this day
Of course, I'd
lots
be
of
happy.
travel and fighting.
we would be happy to provide that.
Hmm. Perfect. Well, that kind of takes care of all my needs. Look around at everyone else.
Do you have beer?
We will have beverages sent to you as well, Morwen.
Alcoholic beverages?
That was the implication,
Oh,
yes.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
She's
You're
only
welcome.
6. Forgive her.
She was 3 last time you were here, but
I just go by what she says.
I
It
don't know
seems
myself.
polite.
okay. Shay, you get the sense that Gamble doesn't believe that Morwen does not know how old she is, but
Lady
doesn't
never
seem
tells
to
her age.
doesn't seem to push the envelope on it too much. I will have those things sent to you in the workshop. Morwen, did you have any more of that pipe leaf? He takes it in his hand. Thank you. You can see he kind of packs that and begins to go back to the rest of the group. Do you guys all make your way to the workshop?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna post up there and like relax now before we can't tomorrow.
Sure.
This place is familiar and I like chilling here.
Yeah. You find your way to the workshop. The metal halls, kind of large and looming and going up in multiple levels of these metal mesh platforms where now stripped bare, but still workbenches are kind of scattered here and there. There's like little bolts on the ground, and you can see elements of like a hammer that's been left on the side and a crate that hasn't been fully packed yet. Though the fire does burn here and it is warming up, Jay, this is the quietest you've ever heard this. None of the wheels are turning. You don't hear steam being released anywhere. The complex, almost like train track like carts that would bring parts to and from different platforms, not running, and you don't hear the endless kind of creak of the windmill outside. It is fairly quiet. The wind blows through, and it's emptier than it's felt. But as the warmth does begin to fill this place, and you look around, you can see Carranza, you can see Krodek, Pericolo ends up joining you at a point during the night. He's the one who actually brings you food. You have Glub and Akka and Morwen and Heinrich. And as it gets warmer, the fire gets a little bit brighter. The food comes and you begin to eat. And although you are home and it is empty, there's a point in an element that you're beginning to realize now. You're not alone. And this has been a really difficult time. You have lost people in your life that are incredibly important, people who are irreplaceable. And I think there is a part of Shay that. Well, how does Shay feel about this?
Shay is conflicted. She's happy to have the support and to have the people around her, but she has lost a lot. And knows that she is going to most likely continue to lose.
And over the course of the night, you notice, though not an especially talkative person in general, Krodek is also fairly pensive. And you would gather, knowing your Sky Brother and the way in which you do, probably a similar kind of thought process that's occurring in his head. But as this evening wears on, is there anything that you guys would like to do before finding a long rest?
Eat the food, drink the beer.
You eat the food, you drink the beer. It is a very sort of like rich, dark beer, exceptionally nutty. It has almost like this kind of toasted element to it. Dark, a little bit bitter, but very good and quite alcoholic. It is specifically designed to warm you up, and it does so. Very quickly, you find that it is quite effective. The night wears on.
I'm
It goes
reading my
dark.
Elvish.
Sure, you can mark off 3 hours of Elvish.
Yeah. 42.
One by one, all of you but Heinrich would find sleep, unless there is anything you want to do before. Heinrich, is there anything that you want to do during the period of the night where you are awake?
I suppose while I'm thinking about what questions to ask, the book, I think I'll just like poke around the workshop and just see like, I don't know, anything that might appear useful in a tool sense that I might ask Gamble for later.
Make an investigation check.
It's a 9.
A 9. Here and there you find like elements of different kind of tool sets. You find hammers here and what look like tongs, maybe a blacksmith kit at one point. You find an impossibly small screwdriver. It looks like it belongs in a charm bracelet, but as you kind of pick it up, it is very well made. Little bits here and there, but nothing substantial. This place has been pretty well packed. There's a few things that are left, but most of them more furniture items rather than like actual tools or useful equipment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. I'll just have Nod do a general, out of more practice and habit than anything else, just sweep to see if there's anything on the horizon,
Sure.
or just what the state of the surrounding land is.
Okay, yeah. Make a perception check using Nod's perception.
Whoop. Well, that's a natural 20 off the bat, but advantage, not another natural 20. So
that's
24 total or natural 20.
Nod sees through the mountain.
Yeah. Well, it was cut, so yeah.
Yeah. So you close your eyes, you let Nod out through this kind of open. It's a window. You can see a track leads out, and probably there were hooks at one point that slid along, pulling things to and from. Now still, but Nod takes off and into the night sky. You close your eyes. You establish this connection with your familiar. You close your eyes, and as you have Nods open, you go out and over this kind of darkened mountainscape. And in the bits of moonlight that come down, it's shocking how damaged this mountain is. The single attack of this creature, the listener, has cloven perhaps 50 feet into the mountain all the way through. As you go through, you can see elements, even now, where like snow and rock crumble down the northern face. The damage is substantial. And looking at the way that the snow has kind of crumbled and accumulated at the bottom, you would imagine it is not long before this part of the mountain slides off.
Mm-hmm.
But what was your perception check?
Nat 20 or 24.
Nat 20. 24. Okay. You look and see not like specifically any kind of creatures from this distance because you are on a mountainside. Mm-hmm. With the snow that's scattered across, it's pretty easy to kind of pick things out. You don't notice anything large or necessarily dangerous. Nod's eyes turn to the sort of night sky. You see stars in the sky. You don't see anything especially troubling.
Okay.
I would say with the natural 20, faintly on the wind again, and you feel Nod's feathers kind of bristle because this has happened now twice in a row. But you feel like there's something for a brief moment wrong that's carried in the wind from the north. And then it's gone. Mm-hmm. Maybe a sound, but as the wind chimes kind of take over, it's lost. Mm-hmm. And Nod kind of continues to descend.
Cool. Okay, noted. I think I'm going to wait and use the questions in the morning before we head off with everyone. Confer with them what they think would be the most pertinent information.
The night passes, and one by one, all of you can mark off a long rest.
Am I still, okay?
Interesting point. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, no, you did it to yourself.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, because that actually is relatively important.
Well, if he remembers later on where it's a lot worse, I'd rather nip this in the bud a little.
Sure.
I don't want a 3-day later effect, oh, by the way, you never woke up.
Nod alights into the space, kind of hops, and then settles on your shoulder. Asnod came in, you can sense the time kind of passing, and right as the moon kind of rises overhead, and you recognize right around midnight, Morwen, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Seven.
Okay.
What's happening? Stop.
Morwen,
Yeah.
there is a point in the night where, in your dreams, you have this poster unraveled.
Yeah.
Okay. You hold on to this poster. You sleep. The sleep that you normally do. You close your eyes, the tail every now and then kind of swishing, as a tabaxi is wont to do. You dream of fields, you dream of trees, you dream, and suddenly you are yanked to consciousness, and there is no breath in your lungs. You can feel your blood coursing hot in your veins, and you take 37 points of poison damage.
Aye.
You can feel suddenly at once, and you hear in your ears that of your heart struggling to move blood through your veins, and it burns, and for just a moment, it feels as if you will never be able to draw breath in again. And then you're able to do it, and it still burns. You feel it still within you, whatever this is. You can mark off 1 point of exhaustion.
How would I notice that? Or would I not?
I mean,
Because
Morwen
woke
bolts
up
upright.
literally being like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I just
hope
rush
you
over.
notice.
Yeah, I just rush over. I'm like, what, Marvin, are you okay?
Heinrich, make a perception check.
Ah! Ah!
Did Glove sleep at all? Or would he be seeing
oh.
this too?
Let me get a second there.
19.
19. Okay. As you rush over, you can see Morwen reaching for her throat, kind of making these almost like agonal gasping sounds.
Mhm.
You see the little elements of veins that you can see where the fur is very, very short around the eyes, coursing green. And you can see it's as if something moving through them.
Ew.
But all of a sudden, as Morwen's able to draw in breath, you see it's almost as if it just vanishes and sinks beneath the skin.
Oh, why'd you wake me up? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Marvin, are
One
you
for the-
you okay?
No,
What happened?
I don't know. I stopped breathing and I'm in pain.
Okay.
You look over at the poster down by Morwen. Cat claws scratched straight through the middle of it. Poster is
no.
shredded.
Oh
Oh,
no!
his beautiful face.
If only someone knew mending. The irony. I don't say that. Yeah, I mean, immediately the healing light, just because I
Sure,
can't.
so you-
It's like a reaction to whenever my friends are hurt, pretty much.
Yeah, as you're holding the book open, like pondering what to ask it, and then all this happens, you snap the book shut and just instinctively.
Yeah. Let's see here. And then that plus that would be 18.
18.
Not that great. Wait, yes, 18
Okay.
points of healing.
So yeah, Morwen, you add 18 points of healing back because Heinrich kind of turns. You see celestial glyphs drift off of him, and they seem to seep into your skin. And where you feel them touch, that burning sensation disappears. It is this soothing, cool relief. But even as that happens, and even as you feel your vitality return, there is something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, we should probably get you checked out before we leave tomorrow, because I'm certainly not able to take care of this. Would I have any semblance of an idea of what is wrong?
Make a history check.
Medicine?
There's, yeah, you know what? You can make a medicine check.
It's really not that
It's-
much better.
It's a high DC.
Yeah, I mean, I have one die face out of 20 to get this, but
And I would say Morwen, make a medicine check as well.
no,
No? Okay.
it's an 8.
Same.
Nice.
Mine's
We have
10.
no idea. Oh
I
my
rolled
God.
it
As you
in. It's
gasp.
okay?
and-
I don't know.
and
I
have
don't know
cold
either. I don't
sweats,
know.
yeah. Neither of you have any idea about what's going on. I would say, as a rogue, Morwen, you have the sense that you were poisoned, and Heinrich, as a living being, you have a sense that Morwen was poisoned.
Yeah. Figured as much.
We look at each other and say together,
Poison! Oof. Oof. Can you tell that we live together?
Yeah. 2,
Anyways.
54.
So, we'll deal with that in the morning. Morwen, try to get some sleep, and I'll, in a not creepy way, I'll keep watch over you just to make sure.
All right, make sure it's really not creepy though.
Yeah,
Heinrich.
I'll have Nod do it.
Oh, big eyes. I don't
But
know.
cuter, right?
You watch
kind of
Heinrich
like
kind of
smile and point at Nod, like
Heinrich like
"What do you
turns
prefer?"
around. Heinrich turns around so he's not looking at you, and Nod's head just stays stationary as he does so, looking at you the whole time.
See, so much better, right? Sorry, so much better, right?
Blink, blink.
But Nod's still facing the same direction. It's
Yes.
just the head
Yep.
that's like.
Correct.
"Oh."
Correct.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's funny. Okay. I go to sleep.
Okay. You curl up next to the ribbons of paper, and that are the gazelle, and you attempt to return to sleep. Heinrich, over the course of the night, you watch Morwen tosses and turns, and every now and then, it's almost as if her breathing stops again, and then it restarts. Morwen, you never truly find sleep again.
Yeah.
Welcome
That's
to
pretty
the
scary.
club.
Wake up exhausted.
Hmm.
Everybody else wakes up with a full long rest, all the benefits associated with it. But the first of the claws of storms, the dawn of which rises now, you can see a very clear day, just wisps of cotton-like cloud in the sky. It is a new month. And as the morning finds you, what would you all like to do?
Because I don't feel too well.
Yeah, Morwen, you stay there. I'm gonna go and try to find someone to help you out. Shay, is there anyone who's practiced in medicine around here? Who may still be here?
There were some, but who's still here, I don't know.
Alright.
What
I have to go find Gamble anyway. I will ask him for someone.
Okay, and I'll just describe what happened. Or I'll just go with. Is it cool if I come with?
Yeah.
Can I
that's
take a
fine.
look and see what's going on with Morwen? What's wrong with
Make
her?
a medicine check, sure. Unless there's magic that you would like to use.
I'm gonna see if I can tell
Detect
like
sickness.
what is ailing her before I resort to using any of my magic. That is a 21.
21.
I'm gonna say a 2. It's
two.
like
A
weird.
2.
We're all really
21.
great doctors.
You examine this tabaxi. Morwen looks up at you. You see the eyes puffy. You see the fur a little bit disheveled. The hair, normally back in a ponytail, is like frizzy around the edges and starting to like come undone.
Oh, sorry, that was actually a 23. But,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And
The
I'm
hair
probably
isn't
feeling
that
really
undone.
gross. I'm probably like
Um,
clammy, but under the fur, so it's like nasty.
Yeah, you can see like the fur is slowly kind of matting down. But yeah, a little bit of a pulse, like a tremor to the hand. Certainly poison, not sick. And kind of looking at it, this is probably looking like you don't see anything that you don't see rashes, you don't see any burns, probably ingested or inhaled. There's a number of things that could do it, but you're not really a poisoner. That's not something that you really engaged in. So,
But
what
I do
it
recall.
specifically is, you do not know.
But I do recall her unlocking the chest. And
Yes, you would.
I probably put 2 and 2 together, but don't really mention that she probably brought it upon herself.
Yeah.
When I had the key right behind me.
Mhm.
Right behind.
So it's your fault.
No.
If you go back and look at
Now-
the replay of that, I'm like, yep, you have. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything that can greater restore you or any
It's fine, I'll
some
just die.
such.
Squall's end.
All right,
Unfortunately.
let's go find Gamble and someone to help Morwen. Hopefully, maybe.
Don't leave me alone, I'm scared.
You're not alone, and I just like gesture to the 4 other Four other
Oh,
people.
I thought you were all going. You're just leaving me with like Glub to just stare at me.
No, I can. You can see like Carranza now, kind of having woken up, brushing at her hair again. It's a little bit neater now. She's changed a little bit, so now a little bit warmer garb has removed the sort of high-collared leather armor, or perhaps it's just underneath, but it is like a much warmer black jacket that has these sort of white accents that go down the front, almost peacoat-like in a way. But she,
products here too, right?
yep, product is here as well. Carranza though says, I can watch after Morwen for a little bit.
Thank you.
I know mending. I don't think that's gonna help, but
Oh, can you get the poster?
looks down. Oh yeah, she goes, touches the transmuter stone on her chest. Even within the garb, you can see beneath this dark matte black, a little elements of blue shimmer through. She touches the poster, and the ribbons of paper just right back together. You see the poster whole.
Oh, I feel a little already.
Yeah, that was pretty easy.
So,
Very well.
So you guys go off to see Gamble.
Yes. The two
All right.
of us.
You exit the workshop. Without too much trouble, going over to the monastery, you find Gamble. Just kind of amidst the sea of people, you can see he looks a little harried, but turns to all of you, kind of shoos some people away. Hello. I
Good
hope
morning.
that you all found sleep.
all but one. Morwen seems to have.
She was poisoned.
Yeah, it seems.
I don't know why.
Inadvertently. Not here.
While she was here. Okay.
No, not while she was here. Up on Yorn.
There is some relief in that, but still. It is a poison, you said.
Yes.
He turns to somebody, kind of gestures over. This woman comes over, shaved head. These odd kind of tattoos around like the base of the collarbones that you can see. He kind of goes over and Shay, you are aware that this exists. You've never had to use it. But he just kind of says, if you wouldn't mind, please obtain 1 dose of the drought. And you know this, for monks who have not yet achieved the ability to expel poison from their bodies, there is a drink that energizes the key and should allow for the expulsion of poison damage, or poison.
I
Gamble
heard the word
turns.
expulsion.
Yes, Gamble turns. The drought will provoke a reaction from this poison. Morwen's body will have an opportunity to rid itself of this, but it could do further damage. And mechanically, you get the sense that this is going to cause another Constitution saving throw, which could provoke more damage or could possibly cure the condition.
Whew, okay.
Herself.
This woman returns with this horn. There's this wax parchment paper that's been stretched across it and tightly wound, this string. She unwinds it. The paper comes away immediately. Though it is not hot, this kind of vapor erupts from it, and you can see and smell this pungent, gingery kind of aroma. It is a chunky yellow liquid that is within, almost a paste, but a little bit more viscous. She offers it to you, Akka, I guess.
Oh,
You can see Gamble kind of smile a little regretfully, and he says, that will probably help your friend. Although, with that, help and harm sometimes come in equal measure.
I guess I would go back and bring it to Morwen.
For what it's worth, too.
I'll go back too.
I'm
Sure.
like a total baby. Like I'm dying right now, and I'm
Okay.
just like not intentionally milking the attention, but I'm just
Sure.
like,
Whether or not it actually hurts that bad.
Yes.
You can see Carranza just kind of, at first she's like, oh no, it's going to be okay. It's fine. And slowly you can hear her tone getting more and more frustrated. Well, at a certain point she's like, it's not going to help you to be crying, okay? Like as you guys are coming back with this cure, you can hear Carranza basically yelling at Morwen to feel better. Where she's like, have you just tried to like stand up and maybe walk around a little bit? That might help you.
It hurts. I can't.
You haven't even
Rub
gotten
some
out of
dirt
bed
in it.
yet.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, you could rub some dirt in it. Oh, hey, and you guys kind of walk in with
Oh, I
this.
thought you said throw
Vodka
some
with the cure.
food in it, because that's what I've been doing
Also possible.
to you.
But Aka, you enter in at this point.
Got you some medicine.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. That's we really needed that. Here you go, Morwen. And she takes this thing from you, and pushes it into your hands, Morwen.
It's a drink.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay,
like it's like kind of a 50-50. So good luck.
I'll drink
No,
it.
just drink it. Yeah, no, you got it. And she kind of like pushes it up to your mouth a little bit. You drink it. It is thick. It's chunky. You feel like grated ginger as it goes over your tongue. It sticks into your teeth. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Natural 20.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Hold on, we're gonna do this just because this has been a lot today.
Yeah.
Untouched.
Oh,
This
look
is
at
the
that dicey
face.
encounters.
Watch the face
Oh,
come
oh,
up to
oh,
you.
beautiful.
Okay, see,
Love
proof,
it.
proof. Fucking proof.
I mean, sometimes these dice give me a rough time, but they want me to live at the end.
Morwen, you take 37 points of poison damage, halved. I don't know that math. To 16. No.
Round it up, down.
17. 17.
Yeah.
Round it down. 17 points of poison damage. As this, you are finally, you have to fight it down. You have to fight it down your mouth. And as it does, you can feel suddenly, as it hits your stomach like a stone. You feel everything. You just gurgle forth. And for a moment, you have to clench. You feel very Guntir-like for just a second. You feel in both directions
And then my
the
eyes are
bile
widening,
rise.
like-
Yeah. And then you, with all of the drinking that you've done in your life, with your life as a rogue on the ocean, waking up hung over as shit on a stormy sea, having to battle through, you take a big breath and you manage to neither shit yourself nor vomit, as this poison just seems to like burn elements of you on the inside until it just seems to burn itself away.
Fucking hell. Holy shit.
You burp loud. It tastes of ginger and bile, but you do not throw up, and you are no longer poisoned.
Oh Jesus.
That would have happened every midnight until you passed it. So that, yeah, and the exhaustion.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually kills you, literally.
It's a
Well.
brutal poison.
Glad we got that done and out of the way.
Yeah. So you
Oh,
didn't.
that was quick.
You didn't gain a rest. You took even
No,
more
you're still
damage.
exhausted.
Is she looking rather worse for wear still?
Looking at her, you can see like little bits of the chunky ginger clinging to the fur that lines the tabaxi's mouth. You still looks real tired.
Yeah.
But smiling, and for what it's worth, a little bit emotionally healed at least.
Okay. I'm gonna just use the rest of my dice. If we're leaving today, I'm gonna use the rest of my dice just to get you back up.
Well, I mean, do we need to get like ready and stuff? I can take a little cat nap.
I guess if you wanted to, we probably have an hour to spare you.
I mean, I also stayed with Gamble, so I'm not back yet.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So
your
you
cat
guys
nap.
you see Morwen just kind of curl up and settle. Shay, you remained with Gamble.
I did. Uncle, I have a story for you if you have time. And preferably somewhere where not the whole world can hear.
He smiles and says, there are benefits to being who I am now. He turns and looks and just says, could you give Shay and I a moment? And there is immediately just kind of this group of about 16 people who've been waiting for him. Various levels of kind of formality of bowing or just kind of nodding, but just turn and drift off and disperse. And you find yourselves in this place, quiet. Gamble looks around. Your cat behind you is so cute right now, by the way. I don't know if it's on camera for the stream, but
I
super
don't
cute.
think it is.
But what is the story, Shay?
And I would essentially give him the entire exposition of everything that had happened since we left.
You recap. You tell him of Yorn, of your original method of reaching it through the astral sea, itself hooked into the halls of Dharma. You catch him up on everything, on your adventures through Dominion, through lost artificing workshops that have been closed for hundreds of years and populated by only these mechanical, fire-driven machines. You tell him of the strange creatures that inhabit the distant parts of this continent. You see, Gamble listens very respectfully. You see his face react to what you tell him. He has happiness talking about Krodok finding you here and there along your journey. Sadness at any mention of anything that even brushes along Era. He listens to your whole story and he just kind of nods. Shay, 3 months ago, Era sent you to the south to look for Hylan. You were so much younger then. And you can see there's a mixture, there's sadness in his face, but there is also a great amount of pride. Our order has been torn apart. There is no nice way to put that. Era, Crick, Hylan. The elements of the Zinyi that made us who we are. I have hopes. I have dreams, Shay, that maybe, even now, they are not lost to us. But I do not know.
I hope not. I fear they may be lost to me by the time this is ended.
He considers this and kind of turns. For as long as I have known you, Shay, since the day that I met you, trying to rebuild that house, you were such a stubborn child. Even then, Era had worn off on you. You are not too small to help, you said. You are not too young. And you were right, if only for your will. That has brought you far. There are many members of our order who have drifted away in the night to join the Ninth Path, or simply to leave the conflict, and I do not blame them. I harbor no ill will in my heart for those who have left for either path.
We are all free to choose. The
We are.
burden that remains, though, I feel it now.
As I said, we must change with this world. But Shay, for as long as I've known you, though you are stubborn and driven and talented, I've never known you to have a destination. I watch you grow over these months, every time you return, stronger, different. But no matter how strong your wings are, Shay, without a destination, you will never truly fly. For all of the help that you've given us, and you have given us hope, your path calls you too. I believe you do need to see this through to the end.
I agree. Though I fear it may be a path of great darkness from here forward.
He looks around. You can see beautiful day. Blue sky above. Nary a cloud. There's snow on the ground. It is beginning to melt. It is warm for the north. About 8 degrees. You hear the wind. You don't hear people, as they've kind of cleared out. And in such a light place, you still can feel this darkness beneath the mountain, within this cleft that the listener has left. You even see it on Gamble's face. Gamble nods and looks at you sadly. You know, there are times where I do wish perhaps Aira had steered you down a different path. I know that you must go on now, Shay, but we've lost so much already.
I will return if I can.
You will return, Shay. I'm the listener now. He smiles, and you can see his eyes are a little bit glassy. You have somewhere to be, and regrettably, so do I.
Indeed.
He kind of looks around and steps forwards and hugs you.
I hug
Nobody
back.
else here. You can feel
Fair.
his chest hitch a little bit as he
But
does.
no one saw, so there's no evidence.
True.
Didn't happen.
And just as quickly as he does, he kind of draws back, straightening out the leathers a little bit. I will see you when you return, Shay.
Likewise.
He nods and he takes a step back, and almost like as soon as he does, you can see there are people like waiting beyond the gate for this to happen. They already begin to approach, and you can see. Yes, and he kind of like steps into this like chaos. But you are
As
free
he's
to do what
walking
you wish.
away, just be well, Uncle, and turn and leave.
He turns and Inzin responds. Be well, Shay.
And I head back.
Okay. As that exchange is happening, is there anything that the rest of you guys are doing?
I don't know. Is there
Okay.
breakfast?
Morwen slumbers. Breakfast is brought for you. Kind of like a cold cereal situation, but it is available. Morwen, are you requesting beer?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're kind of rough on the stomach at the moment,
Yeah,
but
no, I'm just
Hair
water,
dog.
please.
yeah. You all gather within this workshop, and an hour passes. Morwen, you can mark off a short rest. That does not erase your exhaustion, I don't believe.
I think it's only a long rest.
Okay.
But you can roll hit dice if you'd like to for your hit points.
Okay. I shall.
So as you do that, the rest of you kind of assemble. You can see Carranza kind of straightening out this peacoat-like garb. She sees you enter. All right. So we're all here. So we ready to go? Can we get moving? I want to see this cold forge. It's pretty interesting. I'll say, despite the fact that you've taken me pretty far away from my original goals, I'm finding that you lot are you're kind of interesting to travel with. You go to a lot of weird places.
Yeah, that's just how it happens. I don't know what to say to that, honestly. Yeah, I was as shocked as you are or were first when we started traveling around, but now I'm just kind of used to it. It's kind of boring to be in cities, so.
No, trust me, I understand that. I mean, neither here nor there. But so we're ready to go. Everybody kind of come on in. Do we need to any bathroom breaks, anything like that?
Oh no, I went last night.
I
I'm
might
good.
just,
Fast.
real quick.
All right. Well,
Just try.
kind of. Okay. Well,
Go to the
I don't need
junkyard in the back.
details.
Drop it off in the junkyard.
Drop it off.
So more when you make a deposit in the junkyard, whether it's successful or not is entirely up to you.
Contribution. Very generous. And I come back.
You see Morwen pulling up her pants as she pushes through the door in the back and joins your group. Carranza, all right, so we're going to the Cold Forge. Where? Okay, so we got the map. She looks at the map.
We got the book describing the mountain.
got the
We
book.
had the
We got a
recounting
pretty-
from.
We got a pretty good chance of doing this, and I think, honestly, worst case scenario, we're going to drift off like a mile or 2 or 3 or like 16. But either way, it's not going to be that bad.
Most a day.
What about that
Yeah.
Meliora?
Well, technically almost 3 days, but what about her?
Maybe she can give you a better picture so we don't,
I don't
end
know
up
if
in
you,
the bad
like,
place.
talk to her at all, but she doesn't seem like the helpful type,
I
But
think
you feel free.
I
There's
think
probably like a
she's-
sense of obligation, right?
I think she's given us what she has available.
Yeah, so, gather in, touch the shoulders, and if we end up somewhere really dark, probably just get ready to fight, just in case. So, Heinrich.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you've done it before, and I believe that Matt... Shay, roll D100, please. You all get closer to Carranza, touching her shoulders and nothing else as she concentrates on the spell.
That's a
I will
22.
get ready in my winter garb.
A 22. Okay, so you anybody who wants to can put on their winter garb.
Yeah. Ready for the
22. Okay,
Ring of
that
Worms.
makes me excited.
Uh-oh.
So you
That
have.
makes me nervous.
I'm gonna say that it's. They're going.
I don't like that smile. I don't like that face.
We're all about to die.
Give me a second here. So you look at these maps, this long abandoned kind of dwarven citadel. Looking at the map and the mountains, you can see the kind of cloven structure that makes up the mountain that the northern face, or theorize the northern face to be on. There is the sensation of your feet being pulled through your head, and you feel that kind of as your consciousness is yanked through the sky, and suddenly you find yourselves in a different place. One sec. Okay. So instantly, before your consciousness hits you, the cold does. And everybody make a Constitution saving throw.
Wait, being exhausted doesn't hinder Constitution, right?
It
all
does.
skill checks.
Everything?
All skill checks.
All skill checks are
It's a
disadvantage.
saving throw, not a skill check. So you're fine with the saving throw.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
But
saving
any
throw.
skill check, yeah. I think saving throw is the second level.
I got con 15.
12.
Okay. Okay.
19.
Akka had a natural 20 and Gunter had a
Nice.
17.
Okay.
Wait, Gunter's coming?
Carranza-
I guess
mean-
so.
If you guys brought him, otherwise he wouldn't go on his own.
So did you guys bring gloves?
I thought the whole thing the idea was to like entrust him to the care of the Zinyi when we
But we
brought him
didn't
here.
discuss that.
We did not discuss that.
We did not.
Gloves
So
here.
up to you guys.
Okay,
Okay,
I mean,
gloves here.
I would think that we would have left him with Gamble or something, because that's what we talked
Yeah.
about last session. Like,
Okay,
That would
so
have been my intention, but
Sorry, there's so many characters.
you
Yeah,
did
that's
not
true.
say. So at the moment, what I have right now is Akka, Glub, Shay, Morwen, Heinrich, and Carranza.
I don't think we should bring Gleb.
I mean, at
Right
this
now,
point,
yay or
we-
nay? What are you guys doing?
I'm
Matt,
saying
is
no.
Glub there?
Probably not.
Cool.
He probably wouldn't have.
Easy. So
Yeah, they wouldn't
So we
have.
all
Shay,
grab it,
Any one of
and we
us in
just,
our
like-
right minds would have been like, this is
Morwen.
not a travel for this guy.
Heinrich,
It
Yeah.
would be like stupid for us to have brought him.
I just feel bad for fucking
okay.
ditching him. And we arrived back and we're like, did anyone bring? We left him. We forgot
Morwen.
him.
Your cold weather gear, the wind cuts through it.
Great.
Even in the cold weather gear, you are going to take 13 points of cold damage.
Damn.
God
As
dang,
it howls
leave
through.
me
For
alone.
all of you, you feel and can see on your eyelashes the ice begin to crystallize as this wind howls past. You have about 10 feet of vision. And then snow buffets through and just cuts off everything. You're in a world of gray. To your left, Shay, you see elements of like snow that have piled or formed like a drift on something. But you see just white. The wind is intense. For you, Shay, make a strength saving throw.
Um, 23.
23. So you watch Shay's legs. As soon as you appear, you see ice crystals begin to form in all of your eyelashes. You can feel the cold. Any kind of like sweat all of a sudden just freezes. And if you don't blink, you can feel the liquid on your eyes beginning to crystallize. Shay, your legs leave the ground. The wind almost lifts you and pulls you away. You manage to spin and use the momentum to almost punch into the ground, bringing yourself down and then hold on through the snow. This is a fierce storm. And Shay, all at once, you realize that you're in the squall. You have traveled approximately about 140 miles off course.
Fucking hell.
Depending, the squall is about 75 miles across this blizzard. So you could be anywhere between 140 and 210 miles off course.
Oh boy.
The wind is intense, and you would imagine, should you not find shelter, roughly every 10 minutes you're going to be making Constitution saving throws, even with the warm weather gear.
I'm going to take out my Dragonstein and fill it
Okay.
up with the snow and hold it like, you warm yourself up with a
Absolutely.
cup of hot coffee.
In this blistering cold, a cold
Yes.
unlike anything that anybody but Guntir has ever felt before, you pull out this weird little dragon-looking stone flagon, the dragon flagon, and whereas everything else, your clothes, the warm weather gear, instantly the snow almost forming a coating that crystallizes. Every time you move, the snow actually cracks because it's frozen in place and crumbles away. The dragon flagon, as the snow hits it, instantly just sublimates into steam. You put some snow in and you watch the snow just kind of rise up and just melt. And the water gently burbles a little bit and it keeps your hands warm.
I'm gonna keep refilling it as because I'm assuming it's evaporating. So I'm just.
It's not. So it's 112 degrees. It slowly will evaporate, but not terribly quickly. So over time, you can kind of crumble some snow in, and it makes your hands warm. It's not going to help in any way other than your hands being slightly warmer.
Then it looks cute.
All right, I'm gonna yell
It
out and
does.
be like, "All right, shelter now."
You could see Karan's just be like, "Oh my god," and just like touches herself. You watch as this boom of like energy seems to spread out a little bit. The snow hits it and kind of melts away a little bit. But she immediately puts her bag down, begins pulling out more clothing, and puts on another level of clothing. You guys, yeah, I mean, if you're going to find shelter, how are you going to do it? You have 10 feet of visibility.
Ooh.
Which way were we facing before? Actually, I'm gonna yell to. Actually, I have no fucking idea.
None.
No.
Okay.
No, Nod is away immediately.
Oh, okay.
I am poofing Nod away.
So
immediately.
it's funny, as you land, Nod is taken by the wind, and you like will him out of existence.
Like
He just blinks
instinctively,
out.
you're just like, nope, you're pocket dimension.
Yeah, if Nod could make a sound, you would have heard it. But Nod, very silent because of its kind of familiar status,
Yeah.
just taken in the air.
Yeah, just gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's safe. I mean, I'm gonna yell and be like, all right, shelter now. Pick a direction and go. Which way were we facing when we left?
Well, you were all facing inward toward Carranza, so you're all looking at her.
Can I hazard a guess as to which way east is? Because that's
Make a
the
survival
direction
check.
Okay. that's no fucking idea. 7.
Yeah, you can find it. You you're looking for east.
I'm just gonna guess that I was facing west and turn around and head that way.
Okay, you
Be
about
like,
face and
shelter
turn.
this way. I guess anyone, just try help.
So you
Stick-
kind of go.
stick together, et cetera,
The
et cetera.
wind like moves you. And now and then these gusts are powerful, and you feel your feet slide through the snow and the ice. It howls through. 10 minutes pass. Everybody make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Okay. 17 that time.
Okay.
Dirty
16.
20.
Also. Oh,
All of you slog through this. Akka, as it strikes your armor, the sort of calligraphy-like sigils that have been emblazoned in to enchant it flare to life here and there and help kind of negate a little bit of this. But this is cold. None of you have ever, even you, Shay, this is something beyond what you've experienced. Even in the frost line, there's nothing like this. You push, following Heinrich. You see the snow go by. As you walk, who's in the back?
I think it probably would have ended
Actually-
up being me.
Okay. So Shay, as you turn and look, you cannot see footprints. As soon as you lift your foot, the snow just fills the space. It would be very easy to get lost here. You walk.
where are we?
In the squall.
What is that?
Wait, isn't this the place that they said the frost giants are at?
Yes.
Can you
Okay.
teleport again?
No, I did a day.
Great.
So we're stuck
just
here
need-
for a day?
We need a hole in the wall, huddle in, I'll keep a fire going, and that's it. Otherwise, maybe we can dig somewhere to sleep, if we could dig straight down.
You guys crunching through the snow as you like yell this over the wind. Suddenly, you come past a small outcropping of snow, and Shay, you recognize it as the one that you had appeared next to. You've just circled back over the last 10 minutes.
We have to camp in here. Dig into this snowbank. We're going
Let's
in
start-
circles.
Let's make an ice underground. I'll try to basically like campfire melt down, and make like an ice cave by
I'll use my
melting
cup
it
to
and
help.
freezing it. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
So yeah,
I melt and freeze an underground hovel. I will take as much time as it needs if we're staying
Okay,
put.
you take some time. You have to, like everybody else, like crunches into the bank. Everybody takes shelter as best they can. Morwen, you take the dragon flagon, this enchanted flagon that warms any liquid up to 112 degrees. And as steam rises up, this constant steam around you, and as the steam hits you, it settles into your fur and crystallizes. So after a little bit, you have like almost like a beard hanging off the tabaxi fur.
Hey guys,
But
I'm
you-
Guntir.
So you take this, the snow melts into water, and as you throw it, it just freezes and collapses to the air where it shatters as ice. It does not in any way help. It freezes before it hits the ground.
Yeah.
It is cold here. Heinrich, 10 minutes pass, you begin to kind of slowly lower and then brick up and lower and brick up.
Right.
You dig. I need everybody to make a constitution saving throw.
All right. Another 17.
Actually,
Nice.
17 for me
Ooh,
too.
Kron's made that one.
18.
Nice.
22?
All of you are able, now that you're in this bank of snow, the crystals kind of streaking past you. The snow is so dense here, you can actually feel it almost as if it's cutting your cheeks. It's just the cold, but it feels like it's just corrosive. Heinrich, you dig down and push out and dig down and push out. And as you guys all kind of crowd into the space, Heinrich, you create like a corner in the snowbank of rigid ice. And in this space, you're able to kind of more comfortably work. And slowly now, with you out of the wind,
Underground igloo.
as the snow howls by, it's almost like Nightmare Before Christmas. It creates this curved hill that you have to form and like kind of continually shape. But after about half an hour, and I need everybody to make one last Constitution saving throw, you're able to form this structure.
Natural 20!
I got a
Nice.
13. What was
22.
13?
What was yours, Morwen?
Oh, mine's 21.
Okay. Who had the natural 20? Shay. As this is happening, you can see Heinrich shifting his hands, the celestial runes spitting into life, teal sparks hitting the snow and evaporating. You can see that the effort that this is taking is draining Heinrich, and he is shivering violently. Is there some way in which you wish to help with that natural 20?
I mean, I would do what I, like, throughout this, like, do whatever I can to help him create the space, like, as he's warming it up, like, helping shape
yeah, pack it
as,
in.
Like, you
Pack
know.
it in.
Taking damage, like, noticeably from this?
Shay, you, is who?
Is Heinrich visibly taking damage from...
He's certainly about to.
Yeah.
Can I use my psionic power to block some of the damage from him?
That's the invisible hand.
It is my
Check if it's like targeted
protective
damage.
field. When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to expend 1 psionic energy die and reduce the damage taken by a d6.
Yeah,
5.
absolutely, you can. So Shay, you, as Heinrich instructs you, you get into the snowbank and you start like pushing the snow in. Shay's hands move quick, even in this space, and the speed at which you move is enough to keep you a little bit warmer. But you do this suddenly as this buffets you, and Heinrich, your antler-like horns are growing these shards of crystalline ice at an angle away.
Yeah.
Suddenly, there is this. It's almost as if you step into the protection of a building, and the wind just stops. And looking to your side, you can see almost like a concave, large contact lens, snow just beginning to build next to you in the air.
I look
And
around
you
to
can
see who
look
the
over,
source of that is.
and you see Akka just kind of focusing on that.
I'll do a nod, like a, yeah, thanks.
Slowly, you build
all
this
chaotically happening.
The wind kind of dies down around you as you're able to kind of create this space, and slowly the walls form, just thin elements that allow you to peer out. The wind kind of whistles by that. It is dark in this space. And although you know it is probably no later than like 10 in the morning, it's like twilight here.
I'll light up an object of some kind, whoever has something.
I mean, I think I have.
You got stuff? Oh, you know what? I'll pull out a
We've all
fucking...
got stuff.
I'll just grab an icicle off of Heinrich's horns and like magical tinkering light it and then stick it in the ground like a little lamp.
So Akka, this elf, reaches over and cracks one off your horn. Little bits of ice spray you on the face. He takes it, and it immediately, almost like the glass
like
lamps.
A glow stick.
There's like less like a glow stick, and it's more like those glass lamps that are lit from underneath.
Yeah,
you still see the
glass
crystal.
that,
Exactly. And it just kind of
diffuses it. Yeah,
diffuses it. It is actually this beautiful kind of glow that takes the space, and it looks much nicer.
I was gonna ironically pull out the silver candelabra from this that we stole and light the whole candelabra, so it's like kind of serving its purpose.
You take the candelabra, stick it down next to the icicle, and as you light it, you can see the flame immediately almost dies down to a little bit of an ember, and where you're not in this space, with like a little bit of the body heat now kind of like trapped in and beginning to make it tolerable, these fires would have just gone out. Not from the wind, just from the cold. But you see little bits kind of burn, and slowly they become tiny, weak little flames, but they do provide a little bit more light.
All right.
This was like worst case scenario. Not what I was looking for. My throat hurts. That's bad.
Yeah. All right, everyone, huddle up, body heat and all that.
And even Carranza kind of like gets into this huddle.
That's what I was gonna suggest too. Like, everyone cuddle puddle.
Yeah.
Cuddle puddle. No, I like that.
I think let's wait it out. I don't want to go back out there. No, this is your ability to get us.
Okay, I was gonna say this has been going for thousands of years, so probably
not going to stop. No.
Wait out our exit.
Is there any way for us to figure out where in the storm we are, relative to where we need to be?
I mean, did you see outside?
No.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Kind of point.
Can't you like send your bird up or something?
No. Absolutely not.
No, I agree. I think that that little owl will get taken by the wind in a second.
Already put her away. She's fine and she's safe and she's not coming out until we're gone out of here.
So, in a day I'll be able to do this again. I'm worried about being here in the Frost Giant territory, so to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll keep an ear out for... Once you guys get tired, I'll take the watch over the night and keep an ear out for any tremoring, wake y'all up if they come wandering randomly over here. But they said something about the Halls of Ire. This kind of looks like an open, flat plain, not really a building.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. But, you know, the Halls of Ire, I don't know much about. It's an old story about frost giants, and
I don't know that it means an actual hall.
Right. No, it could be like a different structure. Like, you know, I can't think of any else, but
The
I'm sure
scroll
they
itself
exist.
could be the hall, if you think about it.
Or we could be on top of it, and thankfully I didn't dig too deep.
Could be.
I'm gonna
Missy
be
Cron's
honest.
looking down, kind of pulls her feet up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, no direction is a good direction here, so sit still, hang tight till we can get out of here.
Since I'm really tired, I'm just gonna. I'm going back to bed.
Okay. You watch, even as you're having this conversation, still shaking a little bit, but slowly kind of stabilizing. Morwen curls up and then settles down.
But like in an inconvenient spot and like kind of around everyone because I'm chilly.
It's kind of like right in the middle of this group, so none of you can lean back comfortably.
Yeah.
But Morwen's quite comfortable and warm.
Yeah. Just
Near the middle of the penguin
and
huddle.
Any and all blankets and sleeping bags and everything, I feel like just pile it on.
So slowly you guys become this clump of blankets and jackets and spare garb and cloaks. There are bloodstains on many of them, as you've looted most of them off of bodies. But you
Harder
slowly...
to loot a living being.
It is, yeah.
Morwen's
done it.
But...
as somebody's being led handcuffed, you just start going through their shit. But you guys slowly find a little bit more warmth.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable, but it's possible.
I will pass the time by using minor illusion to tell stories.
Okay. What stories are you telling?
I'll tell a story about, let's see. I mean, basically recounting like stories that my mom would have told me as a kid, like any of the folk tales that may or may not have grains of truth in them, like apparently this rejuvenating pond in the frost line or something.
You wouldn't have heard of that. Make a history check.
No, but yeah, just any of those kinds of things.
Sure.
The Deathly Hollow.
Mostly just to pass the time, even if it's annoying, but like keep everyone from...
Sure, it's keeping them focusing on something.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's an 18. No, sorry, 17. 17.
17. Your mom would have told you a story about something called... Is it here? So at one point, a long time ago, and this comes to your mind because it has to do with frost giants back in the first stage, there was a powerful frost giant queen named Elka. She was exiled from the frost giants at some point during their trek up the west coast of Dominion, which back then was still part of the Ald. Of Aldwin was what the continent was called before it split. And interestingly, as this comes back to your mind, you remember there was something that had to do with Elka leaving this storm of ice that surrounded the frost giants. It was not up here. It was supposed to be somewhere, south, close to where Dungannon is modern day, actually. You tell them a little bit about how she met up with a stone giant. And as you begin to think about this recently, I believe one of you actually obtained something from this stone giant, or at least saw something from him. Wargra, the artist. A artisan of the stone giants of the first age, whose works span hundreds of years and go through various periods of work. But you tell them about that and about how, eventually Elka is rumored to have met up with other frost giants that were able to fly and dance across the clouds. Sort of like more in the realm of ridiculousness, but
right.
You tell them a story.
I'm sure to embellish those points with very caricaturish animations in my minor illusion.
Yeah, the minor illusions, almost like neon signs. It's like one motion, the other motion, the other motion.
Yeah.
Very, very kind of unrealistic, but they take your mind off the cold that is like eating into your bones. Even within this bundle of blankets and this makeshift dome, the cold is deep. The hours tick by, and they take forever. If you had 1 hour to live, this is the place to do it because it seems like an eternity. Nothing really changes. You trancing? Okay, you kind of go into a trance.
Mm-hmm.
Shay and Heinrich, make perception checks. Heinrich because you're on the lookout, and Shay because of your passive perception.
Okay.
24.
24?
4.
4, okay.
I'm
Just
telling
20
a
fewer.
story. I'm busy on like both timing the spell and me talking about it while being
It's almost like magical marionettes. You're like moving the images
it's a little
around.
difficult to do
For
that
sure.
and keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
I don't do this often. It's a new trick for me.
And Heinrich is like, and then King Krajam came through and like helped them out. They went up to the sky. And Shay, all of a sudden, as Heinrich is doing this, you see that kind of icicle glowing from the spell that Akka had put on it. In the snow, it just kind of falls a little bit. And Heinrich over there is just kind of saying, in the clouds, kind of like Yorn. And all of a sudden, Shay, you see it again fall a little bit. And
Like,
you're aware of the fact that there is a little bit of snow that falls from the ceiling as well.
reach out
It's
and
an impact.
touch his arm and just be like, wait.
What?
I think that would probably pull me out of the trance.
Okay. You see
Asleep.
Akka's eyes, the pupils like dilate back down or undilate. Morwen sleeps. You wait for a second. All you hear is wind. And then, Shay, you hear kind of creeping underneath these sort of subtle undertones, voice, but it's deep. You do not speak giant, correct?
Not technically, though. I can understand and be understood by anyone.
Hang on, let me look. That's Tongue of the Moon and Stars.
Yes, it is.
Tongue of the Moon and Stars. This is monks gain like a new feature every level pretty much after a certain point, so it's kind of hard to keep up with. So you learn to touch the key of others' minds so that you can understand.
However, you
Moreover, any creature that can understand a language can understand what you say, and you can understand all spoken languages. You have to be able to touch the other mind. You know what? Yeah, that's fine. So you hear this, and you can feel some large reverberation in the ground itself, even through the deadening sensation of the snow. And so you know it must be really close by. You feel another one again. You hear deep voices underneath. In the wind, it takes most of it away, but you hear Morgalokin Toru. And then just kind of this conversation drifts. You hear it go by the stone. Snow for all of you see falls down. And then off into the distance. Minute passes. 2 minutes. Seems quiet. Do you do anything with this?
I'm gonna message to Shay, be like, should we dig deeper?
I think for the moment we're okay because they didn't notice, or if they did, it wasn't enough to draw their suspicion.
Wish I could understand. Damn.
I assume I didn't.
So those 3 words translate roughly to call it in, essentially. Well, very technically, I guess can you understand? You can understand. You don't get the literal translation, right? So it's a sensation of you get the idea that it's.
I mean, however you want to rule that, because it does say.
As you understand, not you know what is being said. So I'm
Right.
going to say you get the sensation of I'm going to go get someone.
Okay. So then we may have a problem.
Another problem on top of the one.
Carranza
stuck in
reaches
the middle of the
over
storm.
and just kind of like shakes you, Morwen, a little bit.
What do
Is
we
it
do?
time to go home?
Yeah, you know, kinda. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we cannot stay here. At least not without altering our position somewhat, because that was
Yeah.
close.
What
Let's
happened?
do it
Can we
again. Let's...
can we get deeper
What?
without
Yeah.
causing too much of?
Wait,
I don't know.
so we're like in a hole in the snow?
So as the wind went by, so basically Heinrich started out by making like a right angle into the snowbank and then going down from there. And as the wind drifted by, it created almost like a dome over the top as it crystallized, and Heinrich every now and then kind of took some time to shape it. And so you guys are basically within a sphere, like a half, it's basically a dome of snow and ice. Little bits are kind of, well, now kind of like crystallized over and almost like frosted windows, except it's just thick ice.
Like a mound.
Yeah.
Can you just like minor illusion the mound away?
It's not that... Too big.
Yeah, and then what if it just
Too big.
walks in too?
Right.
You know, if it walks in, the minor illusion doesn't make it disappear. It just
So
you know.
my two thoughts are deeper,
Maybe they're nice guys.
new roof and collapse the old one to make it look like it's gone. Go down and like over basically, like nah. Or we just ditch this one and make a new one somewhere else. But I don't really want to go out in that again. Plus,
No,
if
me
they're
neither.
just walking around there and we had trouble. They could probably see us. I don't even know for all.
Well, I'm assuming that a frost giant isn't going to get damaged by cold. You know, it's like their
No,
environment.
well, that's
and
the
stuff.
bare minimum, yeah. But seeing through it too, we might just be like out in the open field to them.
Excuse me.
I never really
They're
thought about
nice.
that.
They're not. No.
You know, I've heard of magic actually that's able to kind of like cut through like weather conditions, allowing for sight through various kind of like sandstorms and stuff like that. But that's more towards like
Yeah.
Gath in that region.
Yeah,
I don't
but
really have
also-
access to that.
Yeah, it doesn't help. I
How
don't think.
large is the space that we're in?
Probably no more than like 10, 12 feet long by maybe like 10 feet wide. It's roughly shaped too, so it's not like a perfect structure.
Okay.
Hey,
I
Akka,
guess the only thing I think of is down and over.
Yeah.
And
you
collapse
make
the-
stuff, right? That's like your thing. You're an artificer, right?
Yeah.
I've seen like, you know, I've seen Fazarakian techniques before. All right, I've been around. What can
Alright,
you do
so-
something for us here? Like your magic is ancient and supposed to be like super powerful, right? And almost the Scald almost conquered the entire planet. So you know, can you make us a house?
I can't just make us a house, no. I don't really know what you want me to do in this situation when we're potentially facing frost giants other than just get ready to fight.
I mean, we can't fight them out here. This is
No.
No,
the
that's
environment
fine.
will kill us.
Pretty
Down.
frustrated right now given the situation, but
What?
trying to remain calm.
I might be able to buy us some time. And
What do you mean? That seems like kind of like a risky. The words are not good.
gonna pull out the staff.
Okay.
And I'm going to use 2 of the charges to cast Major Image.
Okay.
And to
So
make
you
it
watch.
look like there's nothing here.
Shay brings out this beautiful staff. Some of you have seen this, and you would remember that this is the
Yeah.
maker.
The legendary artifact that does a
A
lot of cool
legendary artifact.
shit.
Akka, for you, Shay pulls out a living piece of Alberon's history. Beyond, this is one component
That's how I'm feeling.
of one of the tri-wards. This would be like somebody casually pulling out, Excalibur.
Yeah. Wow, weird. We both went there.
I know, right? It's like we grew up and went to the same schools. Or
Yeah,
something.
what the fuck?
It's this legendary artifact, and as it takes the space, you see this beautiful. It's metal, but in ways it almost looks like carved white wood that has negative spaces that swirl around the central core of these motes of dancing energy. And as it pulls out, I would say you can see for anybody who's magically inclined. So Akka, Carranza, and Heinrich. You
For everyone but
see
me.
everybody but Shay, and actually it's Shay too. You don't see this either, even though you're holding it.
Yep.
Elements in the air seem to combine and change, and you can see it's almost as if particles of matter are forming and unforming in the space roughly a foot around the staff. It's like little bits of dirt suddenly begin to fall down and then disappear. You see, I would say, Akka, you see suddenly a small piece of iron, still in its ore-like form, operate and begin to fall to the ground, and as it hits, splashes into water and freezes before disappearing. This staff channels the force of creation itself, does the maker.
What the...
I'm just as shocked as you are. We've seen it once and then just kind of had to run, so
Just
I
keep
forgot
that
about it.
in your back pocket?
Shay holds it up, and you see from within this kind of twisted cage of white, these two motes of energy kind of drift through, and they shoot through the ceiling. And for all of you, nothing seems to happen.
Yeah.
But Shay, you feel as though the magic has taken hold.
Okay.
I have a question about it.
Sure.
I didn't focus on it, but what's the belt doing for me at this moment? Because it's been
The
over
belt?
24 hours. Yeah.
Sure. This is a belt of stone giant strength.
Yeah.
And while you wear it, your strength score is considered to be 23, I
Right.
believe.
Is that active currently? Because that's what
Yes,
I
as long as you're attuned to it, yes.
Okay. So I'll shit, I have, it's 3 slots for attunement, right?
Mm-hmm. Unless you're an artificer.
Nope. I'm not. I think, so the things that I'm attuned to now are still I'm an idiot. Boots of water walking. I feel like that could have done something with the snow.
Probably. Snow is water.
Yeah, and then the belt. And I guess, is the Ring of Warmth attunement or no?
No.
Okay, so that and then the Pearl of Power. Okay, cool. So I have a strength score of 23 right now. I just wanted to know that just in case
Sure.
shit goes down.
Yep. You and
Because I'm
it's
still wearing
interesting.
it. I had other plans for it, but like
I
right
would
now,
say
I'm not going to
at
change
the
any of that.
moment, you haven't done anything that would make you aware of this change.
Yeah.
But at some point, that's going to be quite surprising.
Yeah.
You have this belt on. This belt has the face of stone in its buckle form.
Right.
When it shrinks down to your size, it's a big belt buckle. It's
Right.
like maybe 4 inches tall. It has the face carved in stone of a stone giant. It's like a much smaller version of like a WWE belt in terms of like how the buckle is in terms of the band. But it looks how it does, and it does make you strong. So Shay, you make this seem as if it's not there. In your mind, you imagine as if the hill is slowly just spread out and kind of pressed back into its natural formation on the ground. And as far as you can tell above, that is what happens. The wind still howls by. It's still cold. It's getting darker. The hours are passing, and as the snow falls and the wind howls, night falls as well. It gets colder.
I think I would bring out the lantern with the breaker pieces for warmth
Okay.
and see if that helps.
You bring out the lantern, and it's again kind of buckled out a little bit now. It is the lantern itself is not hot to the touch. So are you doing something? Are you opening it?
I'm worried that if I open it, it's going to melt all the snow and reveal our position. So I'm just seeing if there's any like residual heat emanating from it, like a little, like how a lantern would have a slight heat radiating off of it.
Sure.
But more so because it's got hot magic broken shits in it.
So the outside of the lantern is still
Broken
cool,
shits.
and you know this because you've held the lantern with these pieces in it.
Yeah.
So you'd have to open it for warmth. But in your mind, perhaps it's producing some warmth. It's a placebo.
I put it back then.
Okay. So you just
I'm
tuck it
gonna
away.
go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep.
I'm exhausted.
like-
Yeah, that's true.
On guard in case something happens.
Absolutely,
Ready to, yeah.
Same. I don't think sleep will come for most of us tonight or
Oh, it never
today
comes to
until
you.
we leave.
So who is sleeping?
I can't.
Karanza is going to attempt to sleep because she has to.
Yeah.
I think I would
think-
do my trance my 4-hour trance at some point. But
Suggesting
like,
sleeping in shifts.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I think
Don't
that's a
need
good
to.
idea for all of you. Oh, well, yeah.
All
no.
you guys go to sleep. I'm fine.
Are you sure?
100%.
Well,
I feel
got
like
this.
you always
Look
watch
at
the
my
whole
eyes.
night. How
I'm
do you-
all set.
All right.
And like you look at my eyes.
Looks
There's
into
no,
your
it's not like they're baggy or anything. I'll be like, hold on one second. I'm gonna thaumaturgy them into regular eyes.
Ew.
They're like, look, see, they're normal.
They're
And
just
then
like buggy.
yeah. I have normal
It's
human
like
eyes for like
badly animated.
Yeah. I like
it's like
this, and they just jiggle around.
it's like the Mass Effect glitch where they're like bugging out.
Oh god, that reminds
Not
me
a
of a
sponsor.
horrifying video. But anyways.
So you,
Anyways, yes, I will
you
take watch.
Akka kind of being vigilant as well after his trance.
Yep. Appreciate the help.
Midnight rolls by. You look over. Morwen seems to be sleeping fine. You are aware for a second, Heinrich, of like an intensity of the wind that kind of increases for just a moment and then abates. Make a perception check.
Please, please, please. Natural 20.
Nice.
Okay. That was weird. You got the strange sense that something happened. Almost you listen, nothing has changed, but for a second you heard it. You think about nod and the similar sensation, different in ways. You look around, you can see there are areas where the once gaps have frozen over into semi-clear sort of elements. You get over to one, you kind of move your hand over it and kind of shape the water a little bit to make it a little bit more clear, and you look out. It is dark. Through the squall, there is no light. But then all of a sudden, all at once, you feel something heavy lands nearby. You hear massive wings disrupting snow, breaking the wind. And then you hear 2 large feet, as if something dismounts. You can hear outside something large, something larger than a giant, kind of shift in the snow. Can you understand giant?
Not verbally, I can just read.
You can hear Borga Zazastra Brezen, and then a much larger voice. You imagine the one that you just heard was a giant, but whatever this is larger. And as it speaks, you almost
Shake
can
your
hear
pants.
in the rasp something that reminds you of kind scale. But because it is midnight, this is where we're going to end. Yeah, great work. But thank you guys so much for hanging out and joining us for Adventures in Alberon, the pants shitting episode.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? All in all, you guys actually traveled a fair amount in one distance. It was just a little unfortunate that you're about 200 miles off course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what dice rolls
With
do.
teleportation, no distance is technically too great. So.
Yeah. Well, so the way that it works when you so this is considered a mishap. This is the worst thing that could have happened. You guys went to a place somewhat similar to the place you were trying to go. You are near a mountain, and there is a structure within it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of ice present in that structure.
And this is just the prophecy from the very beginning that, you know, I am terrified of finding out who this cold dead king is.
It's a cold, cruel king.
Cruel king, sorry, not dead yet.
But
Still
we will not find out tonight.
Nope.
Are we all back next week?
Mhm.
All right, so perhaps we will find out next week on Adventures in Alberon when we get to session 74 of this campaign. But until then, it is kind of crazy out there, so please stay safe. If you have the opportunity, I would highly encourage a vaccination. But otherwise, please, please, please still just, bear with us for a little bit longer. We're getting back to a sense of normalcy. Please stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week. Bye.